And I think that's why the left is really having a meltdown.
Oh, absolutely. And so I've seen online some questions on, because a lot of people, Christina, just automatically assume this is just for Colorado, but it's not. It means for the entire country. This is across the board.
Yeah, it really shuts down all of the litigation. So there were a couple dozen cases that had been open and were pending. That's actually a really important point, because people go, oh, it was 9-0, 9 judges, even the 3 liberal judges agreed that with this decision. It's like, actually, it was like about 20 liberal judges agreed with this decision, because there was already a lot of litigation in Michigan, New Hampshire, New Mexico, Washington State, Oregon, all over, Minnesota, in a lot of very blue jurisdictions throughout the country. And all of them had sided in favor of leaving Donald Trump on the ballot, with the exception of Colorado and most recently Illinois. It looks like there's another victory. What was that? I'm sorry.
North Carolina. That's already been called.
Yeah, they called that. I don't know. People must not have seen it.
So great win there. Love to see that from the Supreme Court. Let's move on to New York. This is a beautiful $18 million property that we're sitting in right now. Brian and I were just talking about how beautiful it is for $18 million.
Right on the ocean. You have oceanfront property on both sides, because on one side you're on the Pacific Ocean, on the Atlantic coast, and then on the other side you're on the intercoastal, the waterway. So it's oceanfront property on both sides. Just the land alone is probably 50 or 60 million, maybe 100. It's substantially higher than what Judge Engeron believes it's valued at. But for $18 million, I would buy Mar-a-Lago.
Oh, absolutely, right? We all would. Let's cash in. So let's talk about that case. What happens next from there? There's so much going on, so many moving parts. So can you just break it down,
Yeah, well, they appealed the timing of his requirement to pay the bond, right? And the judge denied that. So now they're really trying to negotiate and figure out how and when, if he pays it, or what the penalty will be if he doesn't pay it. So that's all still kind of ongoing in the works. And, we should find out, I would think in the next month, certainly less than 2, how that's going to go.
What's the next level after that if they rule against him or rule that?
Well, then it would. So they appealed they appealed to the fact that he has to pay before his appeal goes through. But then you also have the actual appeal, the appeal of the case, saying, there are actually several reasons why I believe they're appealing the case. So there's kind of 2 parts to that appeal.
I see. Okay.
And so both of those have to go through.
Gotcha. So we'll be watching that one closely. Let's fast forward and move over to Georgia now. And
that's a fun one.
It's so much fun.
This is a fun one. Yes.
I love it. Talking to Brian earlier, I was like, I just sit at home and watch and eat my popcorn.
It's like a reality TV show where you're like, this is junk television, but it can't get worse.
You can't look away.
You can't look away, and you're like, this is absolute trash.
Yeah.
But it's actually reality.
Yeah.
But what they've done, Fani Willis and Nathan Wade, I would be quite concerned if I were them. I think the least of their concerns is that this case is likely to get thrown out. I know they have other witnesses, or at least 1 or 2 other witnesses that they want to reopen the hearing. I don't know if the judge is going to allow that or not. If the judge doesn't allow the witness to testify, to me, that signals that he's probably going to throw the case out, because if he wasn't going to throw the case out, that creates an appealable issue to say, oh, we didn't get to present all our evidence or whatever. So I can't imagine how this case survives. I think it's dead in the water.
Right. Yeah, that's a great reality show, soap opera.
Oh my gosh.
Name it.
It's bananas. It's absolutely it's just absolute bananas.
Yes, if a court case could win an Academy Award, this would be the one.
Well, like I said,
it backfired, because here she was, I'm gonna make Donald Trump do a mugshot. That backfired.
Everything she's done is backfired. And like I said, I would be very concerned if I were her about her law license and about potential criminal prosecution. The Georgia Senate is looking into prosecutorial misconduct, and they're looking into this investigation separately from the court case that we're watching. So she's got real people scrutinizing her. And I want to point out, Christopher Carr is the Republican Attorney General of Georgia who has been silent. He has said nothing on this topic, and that should concern every conservative in Georgia. Why has Christopher Carr, the Attorney General, not come out and said, I'm going to look into...
Though President Biden heard a little noise from Marianne Williamson and Dean Phillips, but he ran away here in Virginia, a very dedicated Democrat voting bloc in terms of Biden voters. We caught up with a few, and here's what they told us.
The worst thing that happened to the country is that Donald Trump will be president again. I prefer, even though Biden is age, we have more security because he's doing what he's doing better than Donald Trump for the 4 years that he was in the presidency.
One of the things that I will be looking for is to see how the Biden administration has changed if it will change its stance on Gaza and Israel, and whether or not they will continue to call for a ceasefire.
But not every Democrat voter, as we've mentioned, turned up to show up and vote for a Democrat ballot for a Democratic candidate. We know Democrat voters have turned out for Nikki Haley, but so far, not enough. Donald Trump and Joe Biden win Virginia in this open primary, and it was the only race on the ballot. No other primaries tonight, just the presidential primary. Joe Biden, Trump come out on top. Back to you.
There you go. Logan Raddick, we appreciate your reporting. By the way, Bianca, we can now at Newsmax project that as the polls close at the top of the 8 p.m. Eastern hour here, that former President Donald Trump has also won. We're projecting Alabama. So we'll get through this, but there are 6 states that the polls close this hour. One of them is Alabama. I'll be checking them throughout the hour, as will you. Look, it's already turning out to be a big night for him.
It sure is. He may not get to 1215 tonight, but he walked in tonight with 244 versus 43 for Haley there. So with each state ticking by as we're watching the polls close, you can see why Mar-a-Lago is getting more and more excited in that ballroom.
Crowd is building.
Let's bring back our panel now and speak to Luke Ball, who is a CEO of Mason Borough Strategies, a Republican strategist. Welcome in, Luke. And we're great to also have Jim McLaughlin with us, the pollster of McLaughlin and Associates. We're looking live here at Palm Beach, beautiful ballroom. Everything is set up here for what it will be most likely a big victory and a big night for Donald Trump. Jim, I'll start with you because you're our numbers guy. All right. So obviously Alabama is going to be reporting results in a few minutes. Massachusetts, Texas, Oklahoma. If you're Nikki Haley's campaign and they said they're gathering in Charleston, they're saying they're jubilant. Do you see any numbers or anything? Where is that coming from, the jubilation? I mean, the jubilation that, I don't know, because this is what we're looking at here. It doesn't look like it's going her way at all.
Yeah, I think it's more likely they're being delusional as opposed to jubilant. Because, I was doing a lot of polling, not just for the Trump campaign, but also in places like Alabama and Texas. And Donald Trump's numbers are through the ceiling in those places. And look, Donald Trump, his last couple victories, he hasn't even mentioned Nikki Haley on election night. And Nikki Haley, by the way, her campaign has already put out a release that she's not going to speak tonight. And the truth of the matter was, I mean, she's just been diving in front of cameras for the last couple of weeks, trying to convince people that she actually had a shot. So the fact that, she's not going to do anything, she sees the handwriting on the wall. Nobody's really quite sure why she's in right now. This is a presidential race between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Let's get it on.
And let's get it on. We've got more breaking news, by the way. Before we bring in Luke, I want you to react to this, Luke, as well as Bianca. Newsmax can now project that former President Trump has also won the states of Maine, Oklahoma, and Tennessee. So if you're keeping score at home, he's racked up at least 6 victories so far: North Carolina, Virginia, Tennessee, Alabama, Maine, Oklahoma. Luke, he's on a run right now.
He is. And the last time that Donald Trump had a competitive Super Tuesday, it was back in 2019. And when I say competitive, I mean somebody who was legitimately trying to mount a campaign against him. And he won 7 states and only lost 4 states. And those other states went to Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio. But tonight he's going to carry all 15 states. He's going to have all of these states. And there's no one that's going to be able to mount a challenge against him in the Republican nomination. And frankly, right now, I would call Super Tuesday Super Bowl for super nerds. But this is like the Kansas City Chiefs going up against the Kansas City middle school team with the Trump versus Nikki Haley matchup. There is absolutely no effort here that is going in to try and determine whether or not who someone's going to win or back and forth. It is ultimately decided. Right. And so, as I said previously, I think the big question now is how Nikki Haley takes this loss. Does she look at it and say, I must drop out tonight, or does she try to hold in there for a little bit longer?
The donors are dropping. She spent $76 million to get here. What I take away, too, from this most recent thing, Maine, remember Shenna Bellows, the Secretary of State there, was among those who tried to kick Trump off the ballot, too. That effectively was shut down yesterday. That's right. With a unanimous decision by our nation's highest court, 9-0, shutting down any 14th Amendment. And Maine voters there, again, going for Donald Trump. Before we go to break, Jim, as we look, obviously a lot of excitement in Palm Beach. Tonight is maybe not the number 12:15, but we're just days away from this. If not tonight, March 12th is when the Trump campaign predicts the nomination with 223. Worst case, they say, if Haley got a few more, March 19th. So we're right around the corner here.
Yeah, no, it's not a question of if, it's just a question of when. And, one of the things, if you're Nikki Haley at this point, because she really is, she's embarrassing herself. And, what she's doing is she's antagonizing the Republican voters because they have united. They've united behind Donald Trump. And up to this point, she's only gotten about 6% of the delegates. So there's no path here. Nobody really knows quite why she's staying in the race. And the biggest mistake she's made is she hasn't grabbed onto any real issues that the primary voters care about. And also the fact she's been very negative over the last couple of weeks. And I think that's really backfired on her.
Well, I think, too, also her saying, well, I'm not going to back Donald Trump now. The loyalty pledge was just to get on the stage for the debates. And now it's a whole new RNC. And then she had that other comment saying, well, I'm not loyal to anybody. Really showed sort of, a side to her.
Like a politician. Yeah, Maine has already been projected. We called that already. We're watching Vermont very closely. That closed at 7 p.m. Eastern, but it's too close to call at this moment. One of the only areas where Nikki Haley seems to be alive in the state right now. I got 30 seconds, Luke. Arkansas is coming in hot in about 19 minutes with the polls closing. You've obviously got the endorsement of the governor there, the former White House press secretary, and Sarah Sanders. One would expect that Donald Trump will clean up there as well. Your final thought for now.
Yeah, that's going to be one of Donald Trump's strongest victories of the night, I believe. A couple other races that we're looking at across the country. We were talking about the California Senate race. I want to see who tries to out-progressive one another in that Senate race. You have Adam Schiff, you have Barbara Lee, you have Katie Porter, people who are always trying to out-left one another. That's going to be an interesting race. Over in Alabama as well, you look at Jerry Carl and Barry Moore, people who were double-bunked against one another, sitting members of Congress that are going up against one another. It's going to be interesting how that race turns out as well. But down the line, I think Donald Trump is going to sweep in all of the Republican primaries this evening.
No doubt about it. Luke Ball, Jim McLaughlin will be checking in with you. Appreciate your insight as always. Bianca, I mentioned Vermont very close. It's really the only state where the polls have closed that we haven't called. Virginia, North Carolina, Alabama, Maine, Oklahoma, Tennessee. Yeah, we've called Oklahoma. 6 states we've now called for former President Donald Trump. In terms of where polls have closed and where they have not called a state is Vermont. I'm looking at the numbers online. Former President Trump has about 5,000 votes to 4,400 by Nikki Haley. That's a 51 to 45% spread with only 18% in. So again, Alabama, one of those states that he's already won. Vermont is something you put your finger on earlier. New England, more independent-minded voters. She was hoping Nikki Haley to win New Hampshire, came up short there. Vermont, again, Donald Trump's in the lead, but it's close. Yeah, a lot of socialists.
Yeah, and so, if she was looking to kind of, go for those independents. But, she didn't win New Hampshire and, the border, right across the border from Vermont there.
She gave a speech suggesting almost that she did, and that didn't, that irritated the former president.
She sure did. Well, we'll see. Obviously, Alabama also closing, and that had the big IVF issue, which sort of made a lot of headlines as well. Keep it right here. More Super Tuesday election results keep pouring in. We'll be breaking down all of them as they come into us. And former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee will join us And after this very quick break, we're minutes away from the polls closing in Arkansas. Stay with us right here.
All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you guys all just heard that right there. Appreciate you guys all being in here right now. Make sure you hit that like button so this video can be circulated within the YouTube algorithm. I'm switching back and forth through different news stations, different news places have different things they're saying. So really hit that thumbs up so this video can be circulated again. Also, by you hitting the thumbs up button, it allows YouTube to recommend my videos to you guys. All right. Appreciate you. So we're going to switch over here to RSBN, see what they're talking about. That's crazy. Leave it alone.
To hear it. You know, that's the sad part. When you do something well, nobody wants to talk about it. So I didn't talk about the border. But now we look back and we see.
You guys
we
can't
had
hear
the
this?
border. We look back and we see we had a great economy. We had no inflation, essentially no inflation. Everything was good, and we did such a good job. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country, probably in the history of the world. And now we have a horrible economy where inflation has hurt us probably close to 50% when you add it all up. I was told a little while ago, bacon went up 4 times in the last 3 years.
Yes.
I mean, 4 times what it was. And other food products are through the roof. And they say that, you know, they're not going down. They may bring inflation down to 4%, 5%, what it is now, but they're not bringing down the damage that's been caused. And you know, you take that, even if you get increases in salaries or whatever you may be doing, whether it's salaries or anything else, it's more than compensated for by the inflation, which is just ripping people apart. So the economy is terrible. And they say, and some real geniuses, I will tell you, some of the smartest people on Wall Street say, the only thing good is the stock market. And that's good because everybody thinks I'm going to be elected.
You're right. You're right. You're right on that.
And very interesting. It's an interesting time.
Well, we've talked, and yet you have the Biden administration trying to convince Americans that life is good. President Trump, that everything's affordable, but they know Bidenomics has destroyed it.
It's been a disaster. It's a bad term. They thought it was a bad term when it came out, and then Biden liked it. He thought it was a nice name, and he started using it, and he was getting killed because it was really meant as a negative, not as a positive. And we have Maganomics, right? Maganomics. And that is a good term. And, you know, it's so interesting. It's got to be one of the great names because you look through branding, whatever you want to call it, but you look throughout history. I don't think there's ever been anything like this. There has never been a movement like this, possibly in any country, but there's never been a movement like this in our country. And the spirit, the love, and the positiveness. And remember, when they hit us and they say, we're going to stop this MAGA stuff, MAGA, that's Joe Biden. And I say, Joe, what is it? Define it. And he's unable to define it. I guarantee if you ask him, what does MAGA mean? He wouldn't know. It's make America great again, right? So it's been it's been a pretty amazing time. Really pretty amazing time.
Let's talk about the polls. Now, polling is huge right now.
Yeah.
There's a lot of polls out that you're just absolutely destroying it, and you're set to, you know, break every records right now so far. Virtually every player in the Republican Party has endorsed you at this point, which is huge. Now, why do you think you have such political strength right now?
Because I think we did a great job, and people are longing for that period of time that we had just a little while ago. Wasn't long, and you know the beauty is, I heard just coming up, I was hearing a telecast, and they said 8 months. I said I've been using 9 and 10. We're so close now. We're actually getting close. The one thing I will say is, and I say it in speeches, that if you took the 10 worst presidents in the history of our country and you added them up, they have not done the damage that Joe Biden's done in his presidency. It's a disaster. He's been a disaster. He's the worst president in history. He's the most corrupt president in history, most incompetent president in history. I don't know if he's going to make it to the starting gate, but if he does, he does. And if it's somebody else, it's somebody else. But there's never been anything like this. There's never been anything happening to our country. What they're doing is they're poisoning our country by allowing people to come in by the millions. I believe we have 15 million people now, and I think it could be close to 20 million by the time this whole horrible nightmare ends. And we're going to have to solve that problem.
We talked about this earlier about enthusiasm.
Ooh, excuse me.
I often say that I think there's more enthusiasm this time around than it was in 2020. Now, President Trump, when you walk out to these rallies and you saw it in Greensboro, then you saw it in Roanoke just a couple of days ago. Do you sense more enthusiasm from MAGA and the crowds and just the support that you get? Is it greater this time around?
when you looked at North Carolina and Virginia this weekend, I tell you what, I've never been, and we've had rallies that are massive rallies. I've never seen love and, excitement. Even this crowd, I just walked in, and I don't know if you caught it on air, but this crowd is a very nice crowd. This is a very
It's our people.
Thank you. But it's very interesting because the New York Times did a poll that just blew them up. It just came out and they announced it, and we're way up, leading big against Biden. And one of the questions that they ask is enthusiasm. How enthusiastic are you for Biden, meaning Democrats or whoever? And the numbers are record low. There's very little enthusiasm. And very enthusiastic, that's a term. Very rarely do you have people very enthusiastic. We're up around 50%. And I said, boy, that's a phenomenal number to be very enthusiastic about somebody. And then I'll listen to the fake news. They'll say, while both candidates aren't popular, I'm popular. I mean, they like me. They like me in the Republican Party. They do. I like them. But, the fake news they get out there, they like to play it. I don't think he is popular, and he shouldn't be popular because of what he's done to the country. But we have a great love in our party. We have a great popularity. We had polls where I'm at 94, 95% approval rating in the Republican Party. And I beat Ronald Reagan, who's at 86%. I mean, we're very popular in this party. This party is, and whether you call it MAGA or Common Sense or Trump or whatever it is, this party is very unified, surprisingly unified. It's pretty amazing. And that's why we're doing well. And to go to your original part of your question, I have never seen enthusiasm like this, including, so we ran in 2016 and we did great and we won. We ran in 2020, we did much better by almost 12 million votes. 12 million votes, that doesn't happen. Usually if somebody runs a second time, they get less. And they can win or lose, but they get less because, people get bored and they get tired and they said, let's give somebody else. But normally they get less, or they get a little bit more. President Obama got a lot less and he won a lot less. But rarely do you see it where you get massively more. And we have massively millions and millions and millions more votes than we had. So, than we had in 2016. Now, we were at 63 million. That was a lot in 2016. I was told that if you get the same by John McLaughlin, by Fabrizio, if you get the same number, 63 million, you can't lose. It's impossible to lose. We got millions more votes than that, and we lost just by a whisker, just by a whisker. No, it was a rigged election, and it's a disgrace, and we're not going to let it happen again.
Well, one of the biggest issues that they're polling is our border and how it's so wide open and all the drugs. So you were just in Texas a couple of days ago. We were down there covering that trip. That is polling number one across the country. And I go to every single rally and I talk to hundreds, if not thousands, of your supporters. And they tell me, and when I ask them, what is the number one issue with you? And they say, I want President Trump on day one to close the border.
Yep. It's number one, and it's usually not number one. Even in 2016, it was 2 or 3, but it wasn't number one. It's just not like normally a number one issue because people would think you have at least a semblance of a border. We have nothing. We built 571 miles of wall, which was a great achievement, much more than I said. Then I ordered an extra 200 because as you fill it up, they start walking a little bit longer distances and go around. So we ordered 200 more. We had it. It was delivered. And Biden, we then had the crazy election, and Biden wouldn't put it up. They wouldn't. And I said, whoa, what's going on? They wouldn't put it up. And I said, for the first time, I actually said, I really think they want open borders. I couldn't believe it. Because who would want open borders? Where people are coming from parts unknown, countries that you've never heard of, languages that nobody in this country speaks. We don't even have teachers of some of these languages. Who would think that? We have languages that are like from the planet Mars. Nobody knows how to, speak it. And then these students, and I'm not blaming them, I'm saying They put the students in the place of our students, like in New York City. We have these wonderful students. They're going to school. All of a sudden, they no longer have a seat. They're no longer invited to the school. We're putting migrants in who don't speak the language. They have no idea what the teacher's saying. And we have children that are no longer going to school. They're throwing them out of the park. There's no more little leagues. There's no more sports. There's no more life in New York and so many of these cities. When you have 500,000 people just come down and invade your city, it is a very, very bad thing. And then many of these people are very dangerous people. When I see cops fist fighting, I've seen cops over there, they get hit and they get shot and they get everything, and it's horrible. But I've never seen fist fights. Think of it, a fist fight where guys are fist fighting with cops in the street, and that's not as bad as being shot. You know what? In a certain way, it's really incredible because the nerve of these people. And if this happened in their country, they would be gone, they would be shot, and they'd be shot and gone within 2 minutes. They wouldn't allow this. But you saw what happened where 10 guys are beating up cops in the middle of the street, kicking them and punching them. These are tough people, and they're not wanted by their country, and we don't want them either. We have to get them out. We have to get them out fast. It's migrant crime, and it's going to reach a level that nobody has ever thought of or seen before. It's not like this beautiful picture of people coming across the border. These are people from jails and rough places, and they're rough people, and they're not going to work here. We're going to have a level of crime. We have a crime wave already. They're now getting situated. They're starting to feel comfortable. And instead of being this wonderful, idyllic deal, they're fighters, and they're killers, and they're drug dealers, and lots of things. Bad things are happening, and we have to get them out. No country can sustain what we're going through.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's talk about the battleground state polling, since the presidency is won state by state. Now, we checked with Real Clear polling averages yesterday, and here's what's going on right now in these key battleground states. Now, let's go with Arizona. You're up 5.5 on that. Nevada, 7 points. Wisconsin, the latest poll from Bloomberg Morning Council was you're up 4 points there. Michigan up 3.6. North Carolina, 5.6. Georgia up 6.5. These are big numbers. And you know what? You talked about this earlier. The inner city, people that might have been agnostic to voting, they see what the policies under the Biden administration.
Coming to you live for Right Side Broadcasting Network from Mar-a-Lago on this Super Tuesday. You are watching live pictures of the watch party here as election results come in. We want to remind you that financial experts thought we were in the clear. They were anticipating around 6 rate cuts by the feds this year, and the inflation data came out higher than expected. Friends, this is not going away. It just can't. The U.S. is $34 trillion in the...
Bro, what the heck just happened? Are y'all hearing this too? Dude, where'd Trump go? Oh, they got to get their commercial in. Go back to Trump, girl. You guys can't hear that right now, right? There's a commercial playing right now, but you guys can't hear it, right? Hello? Anybody out there? Are we delayed or something? Oh, no, I can hear. Okay, we good.
That state, Oklahoma as well, and Virginia. So President Trump doing very well on this Super Tuesday. Across the board, he has won every state so far. 0 for Nikki Haley. So big numbers on the big board for the president tonight. We're going to continue to wait for those numbers to come in. You're watching Right Side Broadcasting Network, and we're going to go back to Brian Glenn's interview with President Donald J. Trump.
5. These are big numbers. And you know what? You talked about this earlier. The inner city, people that might have been agnostic to voting, They see what the
You
policy
guys
of the
can't
Biden
hear?
administration is doing to them.
Yep.
And they're swinging over and they're now saying, I'm going to vote for Donald J. Trump in this next election because they're tired of what's happening to him. So these polling numbers do not surprise me at all.
So we're getting the highest numbers ever from African American, Hispanic American, Asian American. Women are looking good. You know, I kept hearing about women and suburban women. Suburban women.
Some women here.
Look, you know what women want? They want security. They want safety. They don't want to have people pouring into our country. They don't want to have wars where their children are going out to wars. And think of it. You wouldn't have had Ukraine. I would bet that the numbers are going to be double or triple what you're seeing.
I agree.
That is, blow up those buildings and hear that nobody was injured as this massive, they have big buildings, as massive buildings are tumbling down to the ground, hit by missiles. You don't say 2 people were hurt, 2 people were slightly injured. No, a lot of people were killed. A lot of people in those buildings and a lot of people were killed. The numbers are going to be much, much greater. And when you look at that, to think that would have never happened. I talked to Putin a lot. I had a very good relationship with him. You know, the press goes crazy when you say that, by the way. Oh, you should. It's a good thing to have a good relationship, not a bad. But he understood. He couldn't do the Ukraine thing. And it was the apple of his eye. He couldn't do it. But when I was out, and I think after he watched the disaster in Afghanistan, I think he said, these people are grossly incompetent. I really think without Afghanistan, maybe he wouldn't have done it. But he looked at that where we take the military out first. We have Americans still living there as hostages, probably. It was handled so badly. We left $85 billion worth of equipment, the best military equipment in the world, because I bought it. You know, I'm the one.
You know about it.
No, I'm the one. I rebuilt the entire military. We had new, beautiful equipment, and they took a big chunk of it. It was one of the worst things. And when Putin and when President Xi of China looks at that and they see it, Kim Jong-un, when they look at it and they see that, they are emboldened, and that's a bad thing.
Well, I think these strong polling numbers just indicate to everyone, plus the media and those naysayers out there and the people that are the Nikki Haley camp trying to encourage her to carry on. This says something, that the American people have faith in you and your policies, no one else, that can turn this country around.
Well, I've watched, a whole group. They started off with probably 15, and I watched it. One would go, another one. Some were very impressive, like North Carolina. He was great, and North Dakota, great. We have so many great people. I'll tell you. Let's go to North Carolina. So, South Carolina, North Carolina. You had some people. They fight for me like you've never seen. North Dakota, you have Doug Burgum, the governor. Mm-hmm. He is so fantastic. He is so fantastic. And I'm looking forward to getting that vote. I want to see what it is. But, we have numbers that if the projections are right, we're going to win by a lot. I just say to the people that are watching now, if you could, go out and vote, because it's not Haley. She's not a problem. I think she's very negative for the party, but she's not a problem in terms of winning, because we're winning by a lot. The only place we expected to lose was D.C., because that's the swamp.
It's a badge of honor to lose.
No, it is. We didn't do anything there. We sort of said, leave that alone. That'll be a good. It's a very interesting place. If I won it, I would have said that could be a problem, because a lot of people would say, what's this all about? But we've won everything in record numbers, and tomorrow we could very well win every state in record numbers. That's what we're hoping for. But it's so, thank you. It's so important, because we have to send a signal. November 5th is going to be, I think, the most important day in the history of our country, because that's the election. And we're going to take our country back from these fascists and communists and the people that are running our country. And I'm not even sure that it is Biden. I think it's other people. It's not Biden, because he goes to sleep at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And they have the best of all worlds, because they have a guy that probably isn't too active, but he's very active when it comes, though, to weaponization and trying to hurt a political opponent through using the FBI and the DOJ and all. And the people haven't stood for it. It's an amazing thing. Who would have thought this would have happened? It's never happened before. First of all, that's never happened before in this country. but it's never happened before when somebody would have that happen and your numbers would go up. Every time I get indicted, my numbers go higher and higher and higher because the people understand it.
They understand that.
They really understand it.
Let's talk about a national polling. Yesterday, Forbes had to write breaking news headline that said, quote, Trump opens largest ever lead in New York Times polling. So you're polling huge in that. And of course, you're beating Biden 48-43. We talked about this earlier. It's much higher than that. This is almost greater numbers than you had in 2015, despite the lawsuits. Despite how the news is constantly attacking you, you still lead in these polls.
The people get it. The people are very smart. The people get it. I've seen it. And the nice thing is I have a voice, whether it's through you or through others. I have a voice, and I'm able to explain it to people. It's weaponization, and it's very common in third world countries and banana republics. It's a very common thing, but we never had it in this country where they come out and on nothing, on nonsense. Look at Fani. You know, Fani is F-A-N-I. She indicted me. She wanted to indict U.S. senators for doing nothing. Indicted me for doing nothing. And it was her and a boyfriend, and he got almost $1 million. He had no experience, no nothing. Knew him a long time ago. Then she said something to the effect, I don't know much about the gentleman. They had 2,000 phone calls. I said, you know, I'm not sure I've ever called the First Lady 2,000 times, and I've been with her for a long time. I think, and they have thousands of text messages, right? But she's not sure whether or not she knows him. The whole thing is a con job. You look at what's going on in Manhattan where Hillary Clinton, think of it, Hillary Clinton's lawyer with a big law firm leaves the firm to go into the DA's office to prosecute me. Then he leaves the DA's office and he writes a book. He writes a book. Before anything was done, he's writing a book. I mean, how illegal is that? Or take deranged Jack Smith. He's a deranged person. And look at his record. He's been overturned by the U.S. Supreme Court unanimously. These people are bad people. They were set out to do a number on me, to damage me so that Biden could beat me, because that's the only way he can beat anybody, because he's damaged. I mean, he's really damaged goods. And you know what he should do? They're all his prosecutors. They work for him. Like Fani and her lover went to Washington and spent at least 2 days that they know of, 8-hour days in the White House counsel's office or the DOJ. So they were working on this a long time in conjunction with Joe Biden's White House. The DA's office has one of the top people from the Justice Department, that's Washington. In other words, Merrick Garland's people, put their top person in the DA's office to handle this case. And it's a nonsense case. You know, every legal opinion I've read said it's not even a crime. It's not a crime. It's not this. It's not that. It should never be brought. Should have never been. None of these things should have been brought. But it's all of these indictments are Biden indictments. And they're there to hurt an opponent. If I weren't running, none of this stuff would have ever happened. Or if I was doing badly, I would say it probably wouldn't happen. But all of this was done to inflict harm on his political opponent. And we've never had that in this country. It's something that's quite well known, but it's in other countries, not in this country. This is a big example. And honestly, what he should do is take all of those prosecutors off the cases and fight a really fair fight. We're going to win anyway, one way or the other. We're going to win anyway. But they should fight it fair because it's so bad for the country. And people know what's happening. They see it. If they didn't see it, I'd be down at nothing. I'd be absolutely nothing. They get it, and they see weaponization. It's an attack on a political opponent. Using the FBI and the DOJ, they raided Mar-a-Lago. That's against Fourth Amendment. I mean, they raided my house. Nobody's ever seen anything like that before. We are in a very dangerous time in our country. The only thing I can say is that we had it going so good in the 4 years that I was there that people were calling on the left, very strong, I would say the radical left, and they wanted to get together because African Americans, Hispanic Americans, everybody was doing better than they've ever done before. And all of a sudden, everything was coming together. And tremendous things happened, tremendous things and tremendous success. And now when you look at what's going on, like the border, when I say I took over in 2016 and the border wasn't good, Brian, it wasn't good, but it was like normal, not good. It was, you know, not a good situation, but it was now it's probably 100 times worse. Nobody's ever seen anything like this, where people are coming up by the millions. They have a caravan that's coming up now with 25,000 people in it. And you know, these dictators and presidents and others, they put their rough people in there. They don't want them in their jails. They empty out their jails. They empty out their institutions. Because you know the money they save by not having it? They had jails that were bursting at the seams, and now their jails are the emptiest they've been in 35 years, but they're going to get a lot emptier because they're dumping them into the United States. And these are very dangerous people, and we have to stop it, and we have to get the bad ones out immediately, and everybody has to go home because no country can sustain it. Our country can't sustain it, and our country's going to hell. We've been living in hell. And we're going to change it, and we're going to change it fast.
I want to talk. He's right.
You are watching live coverage of Super Tuesday election results here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. I'm Vanessa Broussard. So good to see you here on RSBN as we report to you live from Mar-a-Lago. The party is going on behind us, and we are anticipating more wins for President Trump tonight. We want to remind you that he has great policies that he has planned for the next election when he wins. When he wins in 2024, he has great policies in place that the American people just love, and that's what they're voting on today, and we're seeing those results come in. But it's those policies that they're not being taught in school. They're not being taught in public places. That's why you can get the free Trump book for your kids and teach them about President Trump, all of his successes and his policies as well. You can go to freetrumpbook.com. Again, that's freetrumpbook.com. It's just a small processing fee that you have to pay, but other than that, the book is free. As future voters, they are the next generation. Our kids need to know how important President Trump is. And so you can teach them with this free Trump book. So go ahead and go on the website today. Again, that's freetrumpbook.com. All right, I want to give you a list of wins so far under the belt for President Trump. So far, he has won Alabama. We have called Arkansas. RSBN can tell you that he's won Maine. President Trump is also taking home North Carolina with 74 delegates, also Oklahoma with 43 delegates, and Virginia with 48 delegates. So the count's getting higher tonight for President Trump. And when those numbers are called, the crowd here goes crazy. They go wild. They're excited. And we will be hearing from President Trump after more states are called tonight. But so far, so good here at Mar-a-Lago tonight. It's a pleasure to be here. We're going to go back to Brian Glenn and his interview with President Donald J. Trump.
I want to talk about you potentially winning the popular vote, but real quickly, you talk about these all these legal cases. When you go into the courtroom and you see all the supporters outside the courthouse, how does that make you feel? Because you're going into a court of law, you know you're being persecuted for crimes you didn't commit. These are all false allegations, but yet you still have supporters outside with Trump flags and great people like we have here tonight. How does that make you feel?
Well, not only outside, inside. I'm in the courthouse and I'm walking past the police and the security people and all. 2024, sir. 2024. They're going 2020. We're with you, sir. This is inside. This is inside. But we have some real Trump haters. We have some judges that are real Trump haters at a level that you wouldn't even believe. We have prosecutors that are Trump haters. Again, at a level you wouldn't believe the hatred. You wonder, how could they possibly have this kind of hate? I don't know him. And we've done a good job. I was a very popular president. I mean, I got the most votes of any sitting president in United States history. I mean, I was a popular president. We did a good job. Biggest tax cuts in history, biggest regulation cuts in the history of our country. All of the things we did, safest borders. We had numbers that were incredible, even from a medical standpoint, right to try. I have so many people that are living right now because for 50 years they were trying to get, we have space age materials, some great medicines. We have labs and doctors that are incredible. And they're way ahead, but they won't be approved for 4 or 5 years by the FDA. And I said, well, why aren't we giving a person that's terminally ill, why aren't we giving them some of this medicine? Maybe it'll work. And it was a very hard thing, actually. It sounds easy, but it wasn't, because the insurance companies didn't want it for obvious reasons. The medical companies and labs didn't want it because if it doesn't work, and people are terminally ill. And I worked a deal where you don't have to put it down here. You can put it down on a separate list. In other words, so it won't look bad on your so-called report card. And I got the insurance companies on board. You sign a document. You're not going to ever sue the country. You're not going to sue. And you have access. Instead of going to Asia or going to Europe or going wherever you may go or going home and dying if you have no money. A lot of people can't go to Asia, Europe to seek a cure. And we are saving thousands and thousands of lives. It's great. It's great.
Yeah. You're right. Okay, let's talk about winning that popular vote. How would that make you feel to win the popular vote?
Well, look, we have a couple of problems in this country. Number one, mail-in voting. Mail-in voting will always be dishonest, okay? And it's a shame that we have it. Jimmy Carter did a report along with a couple of other senators that were respected, Democrats, Republicans. It's like a commission. And the end result of the report was never go to mail-in voting. It will always be dishonest. That was a long time ago. France fairly recently switched from mail-in voting to one-day paper ballots, voter ID, very simple. One-day voting. I mean, these elections where they take 61 days and then they want an extension. And, they use machines to count it fast, but nobody ever had they last weeks longer. And then you wonder what's happening and how come that material is moved and it was there and where is it now? Now, we have to have fair elections. We need two things very strongly. We need fair elections and free elections, and we need borders. If a country doesn't have borders, you're not a country. And we really don't have either. But when you have mail-in voting, think of what the process is. They send an envelope to someplace. I mean, so many people complain. They get 7 or 8 votes. Some don't complain. Some just send them back in, right? But they get many votes. They get many ballots. And many of them sign them. They just keep signing them. And who's bringing them there? Who's bringing them back? What happens in the meantime? Are they sold? Because ballots are sold during this process. People are selling them that are delivering them. So many bad things happen. I think that, I went to California, had this massive crowd. I said, why would I lose California? Automatically, because you're a Republican. Why would I lose California? Look at this crowd. It's as big as we've ever had. Or New York. I think I'd do well in New York if we had everything was on the up and up. And by the way, we're putting a heavy move on New York because New York is not the same place. New York was unhappy 3 years ago, but New York is really unhappy now.
Yeah. Well,
and I think we can do Lee Zeldin. Lee Zeldin did a good job. I think you're right. It's a lot worse now.
Yeah. Well, let's getting back to the latest New York Times poll. Aside from your biggest lead ever in the national popular vote, Biden is 25 points down from his 2020 numbers with working class minority voters without college degrees. It showed up you winning Hispanic voters 46-40. It also showed you winning 23% of black voters. Now you've gained black voters than you had in 2020. What does that make you feel to really get down in the inner cities and show these demos that your policies will promote them despite what the Democrats would say?
So it makes me feel great. Like as an example, with black voters, Romney got 4 or 5%. Mitt Romney, okay. I'm not a big fan of his, by the way. He got 4 or 5. But I did a lot of things like criminal justice reform, opportunity zones and cities with Tim Scott, who's fantastic, by the way. And I tell Tim all the time, he ran as a candidate and he did fine. But as my surrogate, he's unbelievable. I said, you do a much better job fighting for me than you did fighting for yourself. He said, I always had trouble fighting for myself, but I like to fight for people that I think can do a great job. He's great. But we did things that were incredible. Criminal justice reform couldn't have been done. They came to see me, a group of people, and they were crying. Can I have help?
Yeah.
They were crying. And I was able to get conservatives to go along with it. And we got criminal justice reform. And I will tell you, the group that most wanted it was the black population because, it's pretty rough stuff what's been happening if you look at sentencing and sentencing guidelines, et cetera. So I got criminal justice reform. We did so much. Historically, if you look at the colleges, you have colleges and universities, black. They would come to see me, the heads of these colleges, and I got to know some of them. But the first year they came to see, I said, "What are you guys doing here?" "We came to get money from Congress because we can't run our schools if we don't." "Oh." Next year, the same group came. They said, "Yeah, we're here to get money." I said, "Wait a minute, do you do this every year?" And they said, "Yeah, we do this every year. We have to." And one of them said to me, it was bad. He said, "I feel like a beggar because they make us come back every year. This is the Democrats." And I said, "You know what we're going to do? We're going to sit down. You're going to tell me what you need. We're going to do a long-term plan for you." And I got them done with a long-term plan. And I added 20% to the number that they asked for. And they love me. I said, the only problem I'm going to have is I've gotten to like some of you guys, and I'll never see you again, probably. But you know what? I took care of them. And now you have your black colleges and universities are well-funded because of me. They were never going to get it. They were never going to get that.
Yeah. And those are things that the mainstream media won't tell voters. You know, they really hide a lot of the accomplishments you had during your 2016 administration. You did help out the black voters and Hispanic voters. Hispanics were making higher wages than they've ever made.
They had the best 4 years they've ever had. Very entrepreneurial people. Very entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
But it's true. They're amazing and very entrepreneurial. In fact, I don't even want to do business deals with these people. They're too good. But, you know, they had the best 4 years, a lot of small businesses, and they had the best 4 years they've ever had. So everybody did, every group.
So you feel like this time you're making some really good inroads with.
I do, and the big thing is we have to stop the cheating. I don't need votes. We have all the votes we need. We have to stop the cheating. Because I actually think we would win the popular vote if God came down and was your vote counter, where it would be honest. I think we win the popular vote. But they've cheated for years. Look, who can win with open borders, with high interest rates? You can't buy a home, with woke military. We defeated ISIS. We got rid of the worst terrorists in the world. We did things, and we had no wars. I got into no wars. Everybody said, I remember Hillary Clinton during a debate, she said, "Look at this man. He's going to cause wars. Look at his attitude. Look at his fresh mouth." I said, "No, my fresh mouth is going to keep us out of wars." And that's what happened.
Yeah.
That's what happened. So we had no wars, but we defeated ISIS. Think of it.
Yeah.
We defeated ISIS in 4 weeks, and it was supposed to take 4 or 5 years. I went to Iraq, and I met with a lot of different generals, but one named Raisin Cain. I said, "You're my kind of guy. If that's General Raisin Cain." We went in, we wiped them out, and we did it fast. We have I tell that story tonight because we have the greatest military in the world, but we have a lot of people that want to be politically correct, or they don't know what they're doing, or they're weak, or they're stupid.
Mm-hmm.
But we have the greatest military in the world. And don't worry about the woke that you hear, because it's just, they do want it. I got rid of a lot of people that taught woke. They were making $400,000 a year, $500,000. They were getting paid a fortune. I fired them all. But when Biden came back, he hired them back. But the military is tough, and they're not going woke.
Yeah, they're not going woke. I said this earlier about whoever's in control of Congress in January 2025 will control and rewrite the tax codes that everyone is benefiting from you right now. Let's talk about taxes.
Okay.
Let's talk about people keeping more of their money and how important that is to achieve the American dream.
So I'm very proud to say that I got the biggest tax cuts in the history of our country, bigger than Ronald Reagan tax cuts, which were very big, but substantially bigger. And that's one of the things, I think, between that and the regulation cuts, where you didn't have to go through, years of study to find out that that's a piece of dirt and there's no problem, okay? I mean, it was the craziest thing. And we did regulation cuts larger than any other president has ever done, by double or triple. And I think that was actually more important. It's interesting. I was with a big businessman the other day. I said, "What was better for you, the tax cuts or the regulation cuts?" He said, "It's not close, the regulation cuts." That's why we had the best job numbers that this country has ever had. We had the best job numbers that we ever had. And regulation cuts and tax cuts. So with the taxes, you could keep your money. You were spending less money. And the funny thing is, everyone said, "Oh, you cut them too much. You're not going to take in the revenues." We had, right after the tax cuts, we had the largest number in terms of revenue We had the biggest revenues, the greatest revenues that the country's ever had, because people were incentivized. They were incentivized to go and work and everything else. Now, the Democrats want to raise your taxes by 4 times. And I don't know if people know it. You know, it used to be that if you could cut taxes, you were a pretty good politician, you were going to get elected. We're living in a different time. They want to raise your taxes, and they think that's good politics. So they want to raise your taxes. They want to give you lousy education. They want to give you very unsafe streets. All of these things, and they want to have open borders. Open borders. You can't have the open borders. So I think we're on a path to get tremendous numbers of votes. Yeah, and the enthusiasm, as you said, and as some of your people just said, there has never been, I don't think in any campaign, people say, you know, I have veterans that have been with me for a while, but they've been in this business, in this world of politics for a long time. I have one that's been through many campaigns. He said, there's never been anything like what he's saying now. If we drive, we're now in Florida, if we drive 5 blocks, every house has a Trump sign in front of it. It's really a great honor, I have to tell you. It's a beautiful honor.
It's true. That's the reason why we're doing this preview show tonight, to encourage you guys tomorrow to get out and vote.
That's a Broussard here at Mar-a-Lago, live tonight in Palm Beach as we await for those election results to come in. It's Super Tuesday, and so far, a clean sweep for President Trump. You can hear the crowd behind us. They're eager, they're ready, they're happy. More numbers coming in. Hey, my home state, Trump taking Texas. I looked over at Brian Glenn because that's his home state as well. Way to go, Texas. Texas has been called for President Trump. Over 100 delegates there up for grabs tonight. So, so far, so good. Look who I'm here with, my boys, my friends, 4G Auto Blow. Trump Latinos in the house. Good to see you. What a night.
What a night. It's a great night to be here. I think Trump's going to sweep 15-0. And like I said, they got him back on the ballot for good, and we're going to get Trump 2024, I feel.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Supreme Court, big ruling this week. He's on the ballot. The left can't do anything about it now because the high court ruled that he has to stay on the ballot. How's that make you feel?
Feels good. Now we're going to get to know who they're going to run here pretty soon, right? I don't think it's going to be Joe Biden. I think they were waiting to see if he was going to be on the ballot or not. So with Trump on that ballot and not coming off, they better get, their lawsuits ready to go, because I think that's all they're going to be able to do to stop Trump is to keep going at him. But he's a fighter, man.
That's why we love him. He does not give up the fight. Let's talk about these two guys right here, making moves in the music industry. Trump Latinos. I met you last week at CPAC. Big fan of yours. I just can't say enough about your music and what you're doing. Let's talk about the group name, Trump Latinos, and who you're trying to reach with your music.
Trying to reach the culture, the youth. You know what I'm saying? Trying to bring unity. That's all. And we're here today to hear Trump's victory speech.
How's it feel to be here at Mar-a-Lago on Super Tuesday? Election results are coming in, the vibe. How's it feel?
They all
great. It's a live feed. Everybody's excited.
They all
winning.
Yep. They always told us we never make it to Mar-a-Lago, and look at us here.
You are doing great things. We're so proud of you. I'm going to show off your tattoos. In case you missed it when we showed off these tattoos at CPAC, MAGA tattoos. I love it.
MAGA, baby. MAGA, it's a movement. That's all we're trying to do. Wake up the people, wake up the youth.
Let's talk about how the chants of USA behind us. We're going to let you listen in real quick. People here are excited at Mar-a-Lago. Let's talk about your music. What's new that's out right now? How can people find it?
You can get it on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, all over the social media. Our new song, American First, Godland, with Hottest, featuring Trump Latinos. It's everywhere.
It's all on there.
All right, make sure you download it. Let's talk
I
about
got a brand new song out too. Trump is your president. It came out last Thursday. I need everybody to go get it. Support Trump Latinos. Support 4G Auto Blow.
I wasn't going to forget about you. I was getting to you next.
No, but I was like, I got a song out too. hey, I got a song out too, Patriots. Don't forget me. Don't forget me. I got a song out too.
He just wasn't waiting for me to get to. He wasn't waiting his turn. Let's talk about how they can download that song, your song.
Well, anything you do for me, supporting. Right, type in 4G Auto Blow on all the social medias. Make sure you're following Trump Latinos on all social media also. iTunes, Amazon. I know a lot of people, if they do watch this, say they don't support rap. Support rap. Our music is changing the culture. Our music is making the next generation of children want to support Donald Trump, want to see about family, want to support freedom. We're not out here pushing degenerate topics. to generate music on your children. So spend that buck and support us. Nobody's paying us to make this music. We're doing it to help save America.
I'm telling you, these are some good-hearted people right here. They love this country. They want what's best for this country, for the people of the country, for the children. They just want our rights preserved, and they want to save America. Forgiato, I have to mention, too, we talked about this at CPAC last week. You brought on Hadass Levy, wonderful singer. She has a new album out right now. Also can get that on iTunes, God's Land. Beautiful song. You're all in it. Go download that right now. Let's put it to the top of the charts on iTunes, God's Land. What are you seeing? Are you seeing more people wanting to transfer over or start maybe looking into what you're doing versus the rap as we knew it?
Well, at the end of the day, I think a lot of people are seeing my success that I've had and a couple other artists that have had, and we paved the way for this. And at the end of the day, the fan support. And I think somebody like Hadass is needed. We need a great female artist for these girls to look up to. That's a big thing. Support her. We're boys. We know we're boys. And so at the end of the day, we need everyone to support us. But it's big to have a female artist out here that's speaking for the women, speaking for, because counterculture likes to say no women support Donald Trump, right? He's racist, but then you got the other agenda they push that there's a lot of women out here that don't like him, that he's a womanizer or whatever in his future, in his past, whatever it was. The idea is somebody like Hadass standing up for Trump, speaking her values is a lot for Donald Trump. She's doing a great job.
She really is. I'm a huge fan of Hadass Levy. Downloaded her album. You should do it too. All of their music, they're great patriots. And I'm going to say it again. When there's boat parades this summer for President Trump and all that fun stuff, barbecues and crawfish boils down south, whatever the case may be, it's their good patriotic music that you need to be playing on the loudspeakers. So make sure you download Forgiato Blow, Trump Latinos, Hadass Levy, doing great things to save this country. Guys, so good to see you.
And make sure you guys watch RSBN. They always show us love, always put them on, and they're perfect.
They're perfect, too. We can't say enough about these guys right here. And, of course, Hadass Levy. All right, we're going to toss it back over to Brian Glenn as we await for more results to come in. Brian, what's it looking like?
All right, thank you, Vanessa. I love those guys. They are so talented. Hey, I want to talk about your skin care, talk about how to look younger. Angel Paste Miracle Cream is made with no chemicals, zero water. It will never dry out your skin, and lotions made from overseas. Handcrafted right here in the USA, in the great state of Texas. It's made a proprietary blend of food-grade, plant-grade, nut oils, and absolutely none of the corporate poisons. We know it's almost all natural. This luxurious, rich cream will smooth and moisturize your skin. If you want to look younger, and I don't know who doesn't want to look younger, you got to check it out. Angelpaste.com. That's angelpaste.com. One customer said this is like drops from heaven, and that is the one thing we all want, to look younger, feel better, and just live your best life. And Angel Paste can help you look like you're living your best life. So go check it out. Information for that is on your screen. Look younger, feel better. Another customer says it has healing qualities. It's all natural there. And of course, some customers begin applying it to the skin in as little as 3 months, saw dramatic changes to their skin. Angelpaste.com. That's angelpaste.com. Now back to the interview last night from right here from Mar-a-Lago. Here is my interview with President Trump. Listen in.
We can talk about all the accomplishments of President Trump. We can talk about the policies. We can talk about how he's going to make America great again. But guess what? If you don't vote tomorrow, you don't encourage your friends, family, people at church, your neighbors, your coworkers to do it, it simply will not happen. You say this during your rallies, and I love the sign. It says, too big to rig.
Right. We want to be too big to rig. But the too big to rig, we're really thinking about November 5th. But it really does send a signal. If you can, get out to vote tomorrow. Get your husband, get your wife, get your friends, get their friends, because we want to send a signal that we're coming. This freight train's coming. And we have to do that, and we have to do it tomorrow. Tomorrow's the big day. Tomorrow, they call it Super Tuesday for a reason. And I think it's going to be record-setting. I hope so. But that sends the signal, because what we're really doing is we're aiming at that November 5th date. And I said it at the beginning, and I'll say it now as we close up. It's going to be, I think, the most important date and day in the history of our country. We're going to take our country back. And if we don't win this next election, I think our country is finished. I really do. I think it's finished.
Yeah. So we got to act like we're down, because the Democrats want to actually drag this out. So get out and vote. Have the mindset that you are down by 70. You're not up by 70. And Republicans can stop by to turn out in big numbers, delivering big margins, so we can get this out to the rest of the company. Before you leave, I want to ask you about this Trump caucus captain hat
sure.
you got here.
It's a good-looking cap, isn't it?
It is.
In fact, I wore one the other day. So this really comes out of Iowa, because they did an incredible job. We went there. It was 40 degrees below zero, by the way. 40 degrees. This was real cold. This was serious cold.
Right.
But the caucus captains were incredible. They got the people out. And we sort of do it with other places, even if it's not a caucus. It just works out well, right? Trump caucus captains. And what they've done was amazing in Iowa. And frankly, even though it wasn't a caucus, it was a primary in New Hampshire. You look at, well, you spoke of Nikki Haley. We went to South Carolina, where she was the governor, and we beat her in record numbers. It wasn't even a contest. And that tells you something. When somebody's not really very popular in a place that they were governor, that they ran for a pretty long period of time, but we won record numbers. What we're doing as leaders and leadership, we give this hat, and it's been sort of lucky. So I said, whether it's a caucus or a primary, let's use it anyway. It looks really good.
I like that. All right, so as we wrap it up, the key takeaway here is get out and vote, and make sure you tell all your friends and family, because right now we have to do that. You can visit DonaldJTrump.com/Super Tuesday to find a location in your voting area. All of us here would like to say thank you for your time tonight. Pretty nice. Once again, that website, DonaldJTrump.com/Super Tuesday. The information for that is on your screen tomorrow. Super Tuesday, get out and vote. And let's take this Trump train down in November and get him back in the White House. Thank you for joining us on this special occasion. We'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, here's a live look here at Mar-a-Lago as we get ready to continue our coverage as the results begin to come in on this Super Tuesday. And a great crowd we have here at Mar-a-Lago, as a lot of supporters, some fans have come through here, obviously to support the president. And we're looking forward to we got Marjorie Taylor Greene's coming in here as well. We're glad you're joining us as we continue our coverage. Now, we've seen some states already post up. We've got Maine reporting huge leads. I mean, really, if you look across the board, it's not a matter of if Trump wins these states. I think at this point it becomes a matter of how large is that margin of victory in these states. But it is absolutely looking solid for President Trump here tonight. Coming up here in just a few minutes, Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene will join me, and we'll talk about her observations from tonight, and more importantly, what we can expect under a Trump administration and how important it is for the policies to be in place in order for her to do that. All right. So we're glad you're joining us. And as always, go follow us on social media across the board at X, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We're all there. You can follow me as well at Brian Glenn TV. That's Brian Glenn TV across the board on that. We're live, joined now by Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, Georgia's 14th district, which I got to say here in the last few minutes, I've had more people ask me about this massive rally that President Trump's going to have in your town.
It is. We are so excited, Brian. And they just made the announcement today that President Trump will be coming to Rome, Georgia for a rally. Starts at 1 p.m. The president is set to speak at 5 p.m. And I can't even believe how many phone calls and text messages I've already received. I think all of Northwest Georgia, probably North Alabama, Tennessee. Everyone's going to be coming. It's going to be fantastic.
It's going to be fantastic. All right. So far we've seen President Trump taking, obviously, all of these states that are on the board right now. I think it's a matter of how big the margin is that he wins. But what's your take so far on how he's dominating the night?
He's dominating. The only person that doesn't understand that he's dominating is Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley has stayed in the race for way too long. But I think after tonight, hopefully we'll see her come to her senses and announce that she's dropping out. And I would expect her to endorse Donald J. Trump for president in the Republican primary.
And I even have some people say, now, what is it about Georgia? Because I know that it was cited just recently that Governor Kemp encourages Nikki Haley to stay in the race as long as the donors are and the funding for it. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I saw those comments today from our governor from Georgia saying that he encourages the primary. Encouraging Nikki Haley to stay in as long as the donations are there. My problem with that is Nikki Haley's donations have been coming from Democrats. So I don't think we need a Democrat-funded candidate in the Republican primary. I don't think that we need a candidate in the Republican primary that's receiving so many Democrat voters. And that's what we've seen state after state, primary after primary, where there are open primaries. We have seen Democrat voters come out of the woodwork voting for Nikki Haley. And Nikki Haley won Washington, D.C. Well, that tells everyone on our side of the aisle exactly what we need to know is, number one, the swamp supports Nikki Haley. They're the ones that want her to be president. And secondly, the other important thing, Brian, is that no Republican, President Trump, January 6th defendants, pro-lifers, anyone on our side of the aisle can ever receive a fair trial in Washington, D.C. There is not a jury of our peers there.
That is true. Now, let's turn our attention to January 6th. So obviously, you've been vocal. You've been to the D.C. jail. You've been one of the only people in Congress that has stood up for the J6ers that are still incarcerated. You know, some of them haven't been charged with a crime. Let's talk about that and how you think that plays out once a Trump presidency begins. Do you think they'll finally be able to have an opportunity to get some justice?
Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, I think that's their only opportunity for justice. Right now, it's an unfair witch hunt against people that stood on Capitol grounds or walked into the Capitol on January 6th. There's an average of one arrest every single day to this day right now by the Department of Justice, and it's not going to end until we win. The White House and President Trump has said that he would do something about it.
Well,
woo!
Looks like we'll wait for the decision desk to officially call that, but nevertheless, they throw it up on the board here. Wins Colorado. I was joking
big,
earlier.
Though. Let's talk about how big
let's talk about that, Colorado.
Yeah, so we had the Supreme Court decision 9-0 that President Trump stays on the ballot in Colorado. And we just saw here that Colorado, what is it? I'm seeing 60% for President Trump, only 36% for Nikki Haley, calling it for President Trump.
That is huge. And of course, you know, when that 9-0 verdict came out, none of us was shocked because actually that's just going off of the law. That's not putting their political bias in this decision. So I think the Supreme Court definitely made the right decision. But what's interesting, Marjorie, is that the left was calling out those liberal female judges, calling them worthless, that they were worthless. So they very much want to politicize all of this.
Oh, for sure. I saw a tweet by Keith Olbermann, very nasty man, nasty Democrat man, attacks all of us constantly, where he was using the F word about the 3 liberal judges on the Supreme Court, women, by the way. And he said that liberal women are useless. So we're seeing the left eat their own. We're seeing Democrats come after their own simply for not supporting the agenda. This is the same thing that's happening where we're seeing the same Antifa type protesters and Black Lives Matters protesters that were attacking police officers, burning and looting in the streets in 2020. Those are the same people attacking Israel today and defending Hamas. So the left is quite in disarray. They really don't know who they are anymore. And they're eating their own. And we're watching President Trump sweep state after state. And I think it's fantastic. This is exactly what I knew would happen. And I've been saying it all along. And it's great to see it happen in real time.
And I think it's really interesting how you've seen these pro-Palestinian, pro-Hamas supporters march in our nation capital, march around across the country. We saw them in South Carolina. I saw them in North Carolina the very next weekend. And they've said, Genocide Joe must go. And they're chanting that if he doesn't do a ceasefire, that they're not going to show up on election day for President Biden. And I just got to say, good. That's just, he's going to lose a huge amount of voters. So there's no love lost there from our standpoint.
Yeah, I'm totally fine if anyone who supports Hamas terrorists wants to sit it out and not vote for Joe Biden. Yeah, that's fine. Sit it out and don't vote. I think that's a good call. The other thing is those same pro-Hamas protesters that attack the White House, why isn't the Department of Justice rounding them up? We saw them trying to scale the White House fence, declaring basically an insurrection. They've come into my office building and the Cannon building time after time. And then you know what else they're doing? Here they are. They're coming after Jewish people, attacking Jewish people in New York where crime is horrible. And all they're trying to do is defend themselves. So it's unbelievable.
Let's step aside real quick. I know we got to get Byron Donalds has got to walk by us. And this is a small media riser, and we got a big gentleman. So we're live on there. So we thought we'd make a little space for you out here. But hey, this is your home state here. You got to love it.
Oh, this is the camera right here.
That's the camera.
Listen, everybody at home, these risers are dangerous. I don't know how these press people move through these things. I'm twice their size, so I'm trying to make sure I don't go up. But listen, it's a great night tonight at Mar-a-Lago. It's good to see you, my friend. How are you? How are you?
Great to see you, Byron.
And look, I'm ready for a big night. It's already that way. I think he's already halfway towards the number of delegates needed for the nomination. I mean, this thing's over. Let's call it what it is.
Dominating.
If it's in sports terms, this season's over, game over. We look forward for next year for Nikki Haley and all the other Republicans.
Not sure that's going to happen, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Put her in retirement.
Yeah, put her in retirement. Thank you, Byron Donalds. Thank you so
we'll
much.
see you in a little bit.
Here we go. We have to make room for people to walk into it. We get back in spot now, as well. But that, I was saying earlier, doesn't this room? I mean, when you look at all these people, it's like a party out here. Yeah. And this is what election night looks like. On election night.
Go Trump! Trump! They're fired up.
But,
it's so much fun.
Like rallies are one thing, but election night is a completely other animal. And it does feel like there's a lot of energy in the air because they know that this is a race that we're going to win. But really, our eyes are set on November. And we all know that Joe Biden, and we've had this discussion many times, I don't quite think he's going to make it to the starting line, to be honest with you. That's just me.
Well, we'll see how he is at the State of the Union this week. He'll be coming into the People's House in Congress and delivering the State of the Union on Thursday. We're all interested to see what he's going to say. I'm interested to see if he's even going to say her name, say Laken Riley's name. The beautiful 22-year-old nursing student from University of Georgia, wonderful Christian from Georgia, that so horrifically lost her life, was murdered by an illegal alien. Joe Biden, the president of the United States, has yet to say her name and recognize the fact that his open border policies caused her death. And the Biden administration has blood on their hands. And so I'm interested to see if the president of the United States is willing to even recognize her and talk about his failure at the border. I highly doubt it, though. He's a liar, and I think he'll lie to Congress again.
Yeah, I believe so. And I know that the early reports on this State of the Union address does not really have any mention at all about the broken border and immigration, yet it is the number one issue in the country. So by him avoiding that is a huge mistake. And I do think that he will hear from House Republicans during that speech. If he does mention immigration, Marjorie, he knows he's going to pin it on the responsibility on Republicans.
That's
It's your
right.
fault, by the way. It's your fault.
Oh, yeah. He's blaming Republicans, claiming that we haven't provided him with the funding and the policies that he's asked for. But the reality is Joe Biden wrote over 90 executive orders wiping out President Trump's strong border policies, wiping out things like Remain in Mexico. He brought back catch and release. ICE detention facilities have empty beds. He does not hold illegal aliens in the ICE detention facilities. He releases them into the country. Look at Venezuela. Venezuela's crime numbers have gone down drastically as their criminals have invaded our country and have come into our country. MS-13 has a huge gang presence. And America's streets are dangerous. They're so dangerous because of Joe Biden allowing these criminals into our country.
Let's talk about the state of Georgia real quick. Obviously, we have a rally coming up this Saturday in Rome, Georgia. President Trump scheduled to speak at 5 p.m. We'll have a wall-to-wall coverage here on right side. We've got cameras inside, cameras outside. It's a small downtown area, so the spillover, if you remember Pickens, South Carolina, it would probably look very similar to that, people all over the streets. But in your district, when you poll your district on what people are concerned about, it's the border, right?
Oh,
without a
it's the
doubt.
border.
But it's also the economy. You've
Yes.
seen a major shift in industrial production in the not only in the country but in your state. It's moved
Yes.
overseas.
Absolutely. Inflation is hurting people in my district. The fact that their groceries cost so much more now, the fact that gasoline costs so much more, their electricity bills, their heating bills, everything costs more in Northwest Georgia, and it's all because of Joe Biden and so-called Bidenomics. And this has been a failure from the administration, and the American people know it. What we've watched, though, Brian, is we've watched Joe Biden, we've watched the Democrats, we've watched the so-called experts on TV try to lecture people in Northwest Georgia and all across America and tell them that the economy is better under Joe Biden, when the reality is people in Northwest Georgia and people across the country are able to look at their checking account. They know how far their dollars will go, and they don't go near as far under Joe Biden as they did under President Trump. And then even worse than that, they know that they can't afford to buy a new house. They know that they can't get a home loan, a mortgage to buy a new house. And this is the reality versus the lies that the media tells us, versus the lies that the Democrat tells us, and versus the lies on Joe Biden's talking points on his note cards that he has to hold in his hand.
Yeah. Let's step aside and show the crowd as we are live here at Mar-a-Lago. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Brian Glenn bringing you wall-to-wall coverage here. Vanessa Broussard is here as well, as we've got this massive crowd that you obviously expect here. Not only, but this is a beautiful place to come. You've been here many times. For a lot of people, to be here at Trump's home, if you will, which, by the way, is worth way more than $18 million. Let's
Yeah.
talk about that. It's kind of a special night to be here for this.
It is a special night, and you can see so many people enjoying themselves. And it's such a unbelievable insult to the Trump family and President Trump himself to even try to say that Mar-a-Lago is anywhere near being worth $18 million. Mar-a-Lago is worth hundreds of millions of dollars. And that's the reality. But it's so much fun to watch all these people here supporting President Trump. Looking forward to celebrating a big victory tonight as he sweeps 15 states on Super Tuesday.
I love it. We'll take a time out real quick. Talk about our friends over at Tax Network USA. Tax deadline's coming up in April. But if you haven't paid your taxes last year, the year before that, or maybe the year before that, our friends over at Tax Network USA can help you climb out from under the anxiety of owing back taxes, no matter what that amount is. They can help you solve those problems. The information for that is on your screen. Tax Network USA. Do not let another day go by. If you think for whatever reason that the Democrats and the IRS are just going to let you skate by and not pay your taxes and let you get away with it, that's not going to happen. Tax Network USA. That's Tax Network USA. Just saw Catherine Seifert and just saw her walk in, which is nice. We got Christina Bob here. It's almost like a right side reunion tonight.
Oh, it's great. There's so many people here. Alina Habba is here. We've seen all of President Trump's amazing staff and campaign team. They're working hard in the war room right now, tracking the numbers. Yes, in right now, here comes Alina Habba walking in. She can make her way up here, and hopefully, Brian, she can give you some great answers on the state of the weaponized government. Very, very bright attorney, well respected, and we're just so happy she's fighting for President Trump.
We are. I mean, she's, I would say, the best that we have, and she is an incredible spokesperson as far as the legal team goes. And well, hopefully she'll get through here. It might take her a while to get through this crowd.
Yeah, we just saw Don Jr. come in.
You know,
Don Jr. just came in, and he'll be making his way here in a few minutes. He'll be making his way in to see all of President Trump's supporters.
let's imagine we're 9:30 here local time. Now, originally this was scheduled to make remarks around 9 o'clock. Now, I think what you're looking at is you got a lot of time delays. You got a lot of stuff on the West Coast. The remarks were pushed to about 10:15. So we'll see how that plays out. But we'll wait for Alina to make her way up here. Meanwhile, Vanessa Broussard.
Yes. All right, we are awaiting more states to be called, but right now looking very good for President Trump tonight. So far, he's won Alabama, Arkansas, Colorado, Maine, Massachusetts, North Carolina, Oklahoma, Texas, and Virginia. Looking good for President Trump. We're going to continue the party here. When we come back, we're going to talk to his attorney, Alina Habba. But first, we want to remind you about Birch Gold. Go ahead and make your investments today with the Birch Gold Group. Text the word Trump to 989898. Invest your IRA or your 401k into precious gold with the Birch Gold Group. Text the word Trump to 989898. Protect your assets in the future with the Birch Gold Group. We have Alina Habba coming up here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. We're going to take a quick commercial break. Stay with us here on Right Side Broadcasting Network.
Parents and grandparents, the 2024 Kids Guide to President Trump is here, and it's free. As a bonus, your child gets a free issue of Everbright Kids Magazine and Activity Book and a free video lesson. Order now at freetrumpbook.com. That's freetrumpbook.com.
What's up, guys? My name is Jaden Hurd, and I have a Christian show called Let It Be Heard, where we analyze culture and current events from a biblical perspective. I highly recommend you guys check us out. We now have episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And basically, what happens is we react to videos, we have talking points, we have on guests, and it's very exciting. Come check us out on Rumble and the RSBN channel. God bless you guys.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and I'm here to tell you about my new product from MyPillow, towels that actually work. Watch this absorbency test. Here's another towel that we randomly went out and bought.
It doesn't count until you actually get that vote out. And having that intensity is such an advantage. You know, we worked on it in 2016. We didn't have it as strong as we do today. But I think that if that intensity remains in place and Trump can pull in some of those moderates, I think he's well on his way to winning the general as well.
And where we are today, and let's actually be specific, where we are tonight is historic. Ed mentioned he was in that ballroom when Trump announced he would be running again. And here we are several months later, 4 indictments later, in overturning from the Supreme Court yesterday to get him on the ballot in the nick of time in Colorado, Rick. What he has been able to continue to soldier on through, and I say that because he's not just campaigning and winning, as we see here very easily and abundantly. He's facing this two-tier justice system as we watch Joe Biden and, you know, the influence peddling investigation continues to mount, but all eyes have been focused on Donald Trump and, as Letitia James campaigned on, getting Donald Trump. Yet here we are tonight. What a moment, not just for Trump, but I think also for the folks in the conservative movement looking for the future of this country and our nation.
Well, when you look at the voters, and the voters see what's going on, they see the two tiers system of justice. They see what's happening on the border. They see what's happening with the economy. So that factors into all this. And you look at the way that they're perceiving it. Even moderates and independents, one of the things that I've been watching for is, within a lot of these state primaries is where that vote is going, where those moderates and independents leaning. And surprisingly, there are a lot more that are supporting Donald Trump this time around. And as long as he can hold on to that, then he's going to do very well in the general. And that is indicative of their repudiation of the Biden agenda. And I think that's exactly what you're seeing. And look, this is what happened with Hillary Clinton in 2016. There was a lack of enthusiasm, a lack of intensity. And so it wasn't that, people voted against Donald Trump. They just didn't vote for Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
And so you're going to see a lot of Democrats, I think, in the same camp this time around with Joe Biden. There's just not that wow factor there. They're not interested in supporting a guy that's going to make their lives miserable for 4 more years.
Well, and to your point, Rick, something we haven't touched on yet tonight is the influence of third-party candidates. And you just mentioned that in 2016, Hillary Clinton lost in part because there were some Democrats who didn't vote with her and stayed home. There's some who decided to vote Jill Stein, the Green Party candidate. She's back this time around. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., yes, an independent, but his family, lifelong Democrats. Cornel West. The third-party candidacies, you're not seeing some libertarian go after Trump, for example. You're not seeing a conservative party candidate. We'll see what Nikki Haley does, obviously. There's a lot of baseball to be played in terms of bringing them together. But those third-party candidates might be a factor as well, no?
Oh, they were absolutely a factor in 2016 and other presidential cycles, and they will be this time around. The key is people like RFK and Cornel West, others, they need the funding to carry on. RFK, I think, is on 13 ballots as of now. That is enough to sway this election. And if you look at a lot of the recent polling over the last, 4 to 6 months, RFK hurts Biden more than any other candidate out there.
One of the only states that's been closed for a while that hasn't been called yet is Vermont. Donald Trump has a 3-point lead now. It's tight. Called yet is Vermont. Donald Trump has a 3-point lead now. It's tight. Too close to call, but we've got 70% in, so we'll watch that.
We'll watch that, and we'll watch to see. Obviously, Nikki Haley's in Charleston. No word on if she'll be speaking, but we do know 45 intends to. A beautiful shot here from Mar-a-Lago. We'll take you right inside the ballroom. You won't miss a moment of it. All you have to do is keep it right here on N2. Ed and I are coming right back here for our Super Tuesday coverage.
Not the case with Connecta Mobile.
That's true.
And how nice would that be? Because, Brian, true story. I could be sitting in someone's living room or around the house and think, is somebody listening to me? You just don't know with all the smart devices these days. How smart are they? We don't want anyone listening in or eavesdropping.
Nope.
So empower your digital life starting at just $35 a month with Connecta Mobile. This is what you get. Encrypted device, data and conversations, no data tracking, and a free secure phone with trade-in. So don't let your privacy be compromised. So if you're like me, you always have your phone on. If you use it for banking, for shopping, connecting with loved ones, well, we are in a world where every message could be watched and every move could be tracked on these things. So don't let that happen. Take a stand and get with Connecta Mobile right now. Secure your mobile world today. That website is phone123.com. Easy to remember. Phone123.com, or call that number on your screen, 941-300-1330.
There you go.
That's nice to have.
It is, yeah, it is, because it's very scary. I mean, just the other day, I was talking about a sciatica nerve that I have in my back, and it's down my right leg, and it was giving me excruciating pain. It still does. If I sit down more than 30 seconds, I'm in pain on a scale from 7 to 10, right? But all of a sudden, the next day, I started getting ads on Instagram for lower back pain and sciatica nerve damage.
Because I feel like it listens. The same thing happens to me.
It does. It's unbelievable, and I've never searched that on the internet at all. But it served me up some ads. So thanks to those guys for keeping us up to date on that.
The beautiful Kimberly Guilfoyle has just walked in with Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Well, let's step aside and show all that. They don't want to see us.
Yeah, they don't want to see us right now.
go into their seats. See
Yes.
if we can,
And then also,
okay, so this gives me an indication right now that we could be getting
President Trump soon.
remotely
Yep.
started to get this program underway when they get everyone to their seats. Now, I had the opportunity earlier to walk down there, and there are names on the seats. So if you're wondering, do they just randomly sit down? No, they have assigned seats to all of that. So once they get everyone settled and in place, I would imagine that's when you're going to start to see a lot of Secret Service will close out this area. They will rope off and make a divider from where the media rises are into this general area of that kind of courtyard, that entryway there. That's when you know that we are intimate for President Trump to walk out. And I would imagine he's looking at these, he's looking at the totals. He's keeping an eye on
absolutely.
everything. He's in his war room right now, and he's keeping track on where we're at. And, I saw one thing earlier, and it was talking about, I think one of them, Vermont. That was the only state so far that was kind of head-to-head was Vermont. The rest of the states were a huge gap for President Trump. We'll talk more about that in a second. Let's talk about our friends over at Tax Network USA. There is nothing funny about owing back taxes right now. It is one of the most anxiety things you can have because they talk about the IRS and hiring all these 47,000 agents to come knock on your door and pull you out of the house if you hadn't paid your back taxes. That is something that nobody wants. Well, our friends over at Tax Network USA want to help you get out from under the anxiety of owing back taxes. And you can simply, the information for that is on your screen. I highly encourage you to get in touch with them and be able to break that anxiety. Tax Network USA. That is Tax Network USA. I see Siggy Flicker and some other notable conservative women coming in here. This is apparently
Don Jr. is in the building as well.
Don
Don
Jr.
Jr.
message to wear red tonight because it seems like red is the word. I mean, you look around, there's red dresses everywhere, red hats, and I simply did not.
I went
have
Florida.
That. Yeah, we went Florida. You went a little South Florida,
yes.
little vintage.
So
there.
back to Tax Network. I want to make sure you have that website. It's tnusa.com/RSBN. Also, the number is 1-800-357-1415. Tax Network USA. But yes, starting to have some of these notables come in. The Trump family starting to arrive. And as we wait, we want to also remind you to check out freetrumpbook.com. freetrumpbook.com. Teach your children all about President Trump, all of his successes, all of his policies. They're not going to learn the truth in school. You can get it and teach that to them here at your own home. So go to freetrumpbook.com. Of course, the book is free. You do have to pay a small shipping and handling fee. But other than that, it's free. And what better way to start your kids off on the right track to loving their country? Go to freetrumpbook.com. This also makes great gifts. Easter's right around the corner. Help out the Easter Bunny. Put one of these in an Easter basket. So great gift from the Easter Bunny as well. So get your kids involved. freetrumpbook.com.
That's a great idea for Easter. That book fits perfect in a little Easter basket.
I love it.
That'd be great.
All right, it is jam-packed, Brian. I'm looking down, and people are shoulder to shoulder in here, hardly any room to move. So, a good indication that President Trump will be making his way out here momentarily. And I really loved as the results were being read tonight and announced tonight from each state, the crowd just erupts in cheers.
Well, it's been a long road. And even though tonight's,
I want to make this disclaimer real quick, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all know how I am. I keep it real. I keep it real with y'all. First of all, hit that like button for me if y'all don't mind. Hit the like button for me. That book is technically not free. I'm just telling y'all, I was gonna order a lot of them for my young mentees. I went online. The book is free, but then look, I'm being real. The book is free. They give you a bundle free. But when you read the fine print, it says they're going to automatically charge your credit card $14 every month for these weekly stuff that they're going to be sending you. It's in the fine print down there. So I just wanted to let y'all know that just in case. It's free for the bundle, but then they said they're going to automatically charge you and take it out of your debit card or your credit card, $14 a month for their monthly, whatever it is. So you're paying for it.
Waves by the numbers, just by the millions, because if the left tries to cheat, as we saw in 2020, that they want the show of support for Donald Trump to be so big that they can't rig this election. So that is their real hard push right now, Brian, is just to get the people out there. Don't listen to what the polls say. If you're in a state where he's pulling by 40 points, still go out and vote. President Trump is big on saying, pretend I'm losing in your state. We've got to get the votes out there. We've got to make sure that this election is too big to rig. And we also want to make sure that you have too big of a bank account your future. Birch Gold Group will help you get there. Make sure that you invest.
Good transition right there.
Yeah, I tried my best. Good little segue. We want you to save big for your future. We really do. We know times are tough and people are struggling right now, but the Birch Gold Group can help you. They can get you on the right path. They can help you save for yourself, for your family, for your kids, your grandkids. Text the word Trump to 989898. Again, text the word Trump to 989898. They have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, which is proof that their customers are satisfied. So, and they do great business. Text the word Trump to 989898. A representative will be calling you. They'll also send you a free information kit, and they'll get you on the right path for saving for your future. That's the Birch Gold Group. Invest today.
There's a lot of gold in this room.
Yes,
I think
there
Forgiato
is.
Blow has enough gold around his neck that the Birch Gold Group might give him a call.
Probably so. Yeah, they can work something out, definitely. He's great to work with,
He's
and the
something
Birch
else.
Gold Group is as well. But yes, Brian, this is a beautiful room here in Mar-a-Lago. The gold, the white, the chandeliers, and all the people here dressed to perfection tonight. Really having a good time. I love the energy. I love the vibe. It's just a great night here.
Yeah. And, you know, like we were at CPAC, that has a certain degree of energy, and I don't as much get excited about CPAC as I do about election night here.
Well,
Because,
and at CPAC, you're working for a better cause. On election night, what you've worked for so hard for so long pays off.
it does pay off.
And
yeah.
so there's that difference between going to a summit or a meeting or a conference versus election night. This is where the reward comes in. All of the hard work, all of the fighting, all the traveling, all of the everything that goes into getting someone nominated or on the ballot or voted in. This is just a night to celebrate all of
Yeah,
the
it is.
success and all of the hard work.
But I tell you, when this is over, it's time to get back to work. It's time to get back to work and
Oh, yeah.
campaign.
We'll celebrate tonight, back to work tomorrow.
That's right. I do anticipate, though, April will be a little slower, I think. I think after the majority of these races, and if he's able to wrap up the nomination for the most part, statistically, by March 17th, which I think is going to happen, I do think April is a little bit of a let's sit back a little bit and just take a deep breath and then attack May, June, July, August, September, October, and going into November. That's what I feel. Now, whether or not that happens, I don't know. But it's certainly got a lot of momentum, and that's what President Trump is all about. It's all about timing on this. The president is not – he is probably the world's greatest marketer in a way, too. He knows exactly when to go places, how to do them. He's an entertainer. He knows how to build these rallies. We got Tiffany Trump and her husband coming through right now, walking down the red carpet. He knows how to do all of this. He's a showman. President Trump knows exactly how to make things sparkle and shine, even on election day. This place has got it going on.
Absolutely. You're talking about marketing. You know, I've been asked several times tonight, Brian, if I purchase some of his high tops, his sneakers. Talk about great marketing there. Goes to SneakerCon, broke the internet that day. And people are still talking about it. How can I get my hands on these sneakers? Or is he going to come out with more? So he relates to all Americans. It doesn't matter who you are. I mean, Trump is just he's a pro at what he does. He's great at what he does. Wonderful businessman, which is why he's in the position he's in right now. Okay, you talked about what your thoughts would be for maybe coasting through April. A lot of talk too, Brian, about a rally in New York.
I have heard from various sources that they are looking at doing a rally in the Bronx there, in Madison Square Garden. Now, your first reaction would be, why? Why New York? New York, predominantly a blue state, right? Well, maybe not. Since the Biden administration, I can't confirm there's going to be one, but I have heard information about Madison Square Garden. Because I heard a particular date because Biden is scheduled to be in New York about the same day. So this would be a great kind of counterpunch to Biden showing up. We've all seen those videos on the internet about the inner city and especially between the black community and Hispanic community. They're over President Trump. So the inner city is turning against the Biden administration. I think the timing of a Madison Square Garden rally is perfect. Absolutely perfect. Will it be huge? Absolutely yes. Will it be a media frenzy? Absolutely yes. Will my butt be there covering it? Absolutely yes. Because I think it would be a historic rally.
Absolutely.
I think I'd probably have about a 6-camera shoot there because it's so big. We'd have cameras everywhere. But yes, I think it would be massively popular, and I think they would sell it out. That's my personal opinion.
I agree with you 100%. I'd like to go to that rally too, to cover it, one, and two, to keep you away from the protesters. If you don't know, Brian likes to go back at them.
You can stay inside with Trump.
Yes.
I'll go mix it up with Antifa,
Yeah.
and we'll show
I'm gonna
all
give you
those
that
clowns
job.
outside.
Yes,
We'll do that.
Yes, let's do it with one of our 6 cameras that will be there. But yes. Would love for that to happen. Absolutely. I love big moments like that, historic moments like that. And if anybody can make it happen, President Trump can make it happen. Hey, if you're just now joining us, welcome to our Super Tuesday coverage here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. I'm Vanessa Broussard along with Brian Glenn, waiting for President Trump to take the stage here at the beautiful Mar-a-Lago. So far today, he has done wonderful, wrapping up all the states that have been called. He has won 50 delegates in Alabama, 40 in Arkansas, Colorado, where 37 are up for grabs. He's won Maine. He's won North Carolina, Oklahoma, Texas, where a whopping 161 delegates were up for grabs. And also Virginia has been called, going to President Trump. So right now it looks like, Brian, we're waiting on one of the big ones on the West Coast, and that would be California with 169 delegates.
You know, I've heard about some rallies potentially being in California, and you know, don't discount the popularity of Trump in California. He is very much very popular. I think I'm seeing, if I'm not mistaken, let's see who we have coming in. It's fun. It's pretty interesting because the security gate will open up, and then we have a massive amounts of people coming in. I'm trying to see if we have anybody that you might recognize at home, and I don't necessarily see anybody at this point.
We have a whole line of people coming in. Yes.
I saw Susie Wiles come through. There's Byron Donalds. Coming in as well. As it kind of looks like this next big group that's making their way here in the ballroom is starting to fill up a little bit.
How fun is this? We're having a great time here tonight. Thanks for watching us here, your election headquarters for
I just
the
got a
2024 campaign.
great text from a buddy that is very close to the Trump campaign. He says, absolutely, the venue will likely be the Garden, Madison Square Garden in Manhattan. Tremendously. I don't, to my knowledge, and maybe he can correct me on this, I don't think he's done a quote rally in the city of New York. I know they had one in Chicago years ago. It was kind of chaotic, to be honest with you, because that was back early in the campaign, but they didn't have necessarily the campaign for that. But I think it would be historic. I think we would see. I better give you a hug here in a little bit. I better give you a hug. You're not leaving without me hugging you. Good friend of mine I just saw in the crowd right there. Campaign advisor to Great Carrie Lake. So Lisa Dell coming in here, saying hello. I said, don't you leave without me giving you a hug.
Oh, yeah, they're running a great campaign out there in Arizona.
Yeah. Which, by the way, I think that's on tap here in the coming weeks, Arizona as well. And, of course, Carrie Lake is running an amazing race here. I heard earlier today, I don't know if you reported this, that Kristen Sinema dropped out of the race in Arizona for senator, so for re-election there. That is massive. That really does open up the opportunity for Carrie Lake to really take up some ground there. I love looking at these boards. It says, you know, Trump takes Arkansas, Trump wins Colorado.
And your suggestion was to put up
Trump wins everything. Is what basically what it was.
I love it.
Fill in the blank.
Hey, sums it up. I'm looking out the door right now, Brian. It looks like we're going to have another stream of people making their way inside here momentarily. So we're excited
Trump
to see.
wins Maine, which is no big surprise there. The only one I think that was close, and maybe guys can let me know that, I'll kind of look for that, was Vermont. I think Vermont was relatively close. Trump wins Massachusetts as well on that. You've got some of these states, obviously, Trump is dominating. Trump wins Minnesota as well. You just go down the list. He's going to go 15 for 15, 16 for 16 for the most part. You've got also Hawaii later on.
Next Tuesday.
Yeah, so you've got some other states in play next week as well. So Georgia as well.
Hawaii,
Coming in there,
Mississippi,
yes.
Washington State as well.
Okay, now they're starting to move out the rope. Now, let me do a little play-by-play. I know you may not be able to see them unless we have our second camera over there. I don't know if you have not, but when they start putting out the rope, that's going to rope off the general area in the lobby and where the media is, that is a good indication that something is imminent. Now, local time here is, what do you got, 9:58 here locally. This was slated to tentatively start at about 10:15, so it might get a little bit earlier after as well.
Real quick, Brian, I'm just getting word from the studio that Vermont stats right now, Trump at 49.6, Haley at 46.7. So that's about 70% of people estimated reporting, 70% of.
So Trump just edging out slightly in Vermont. I do think it's interesting, and it's a badge of honor, and I said this earlier, that President Trump did not win D.C.
Let's talk about it.
Let's crown Nikki Haley the queen of the swamp.
She is the queen of
I
the
have
swamp.
no problem with that.
She is the queen of where the snakes slither.
And basically, President Trump spent zero time in D.C. as far as campaigning for that. So there's about 700,000 people that live in the D.C. area. For him to only get 676 votes, in my opinion, is a badge of honor. But it also, to be honest with you, you mean to tell me out of a population of 700,000 that he's only able to get 676 votes?
Something's
that
not
seems
right.
a little low.
A little fishy. And they're in the swamp. It's a little fishy.
It's a little fishy. but in defense, Nikki Haley only got about 1,300 votes, so it wasn't like she, got a sizable votes. But that you don't want to win D.C. That is one state you don't want to claim you won, because I don't anticipate, anything happening there.
Well, and it goes to what President Trump says as well. We believe that Nikki Haley is being funded by the Democrats, that she may very well be a Democrat because she's acting like one and her policies seem to go along with that of the Democrat Party. So where does she win? Washington, D.C. And so that goes to show you who's behind her and what's really going on here. And so it's the swamp. It's the heartbeat of the swamp. And so donors. Yep.
It's people. I mean, think about this for a second. There's money in running for office. Look, here's the deal. If I want to run and try to take out a big name Democrat right now that everyone hates, right? And we can just fill in the blank. Let's just do it. Let's just, for simplicity, if I want to run against Nancy Pelosi in California, right? I would go out and say, I'm going to run in Nancy. I'm going to challenge Nancy Pelosi. Well, then I can go out and fundraise, Vanessa, against campaigning against Nancy Pelosi, whether or not I really have any polling that suggests that I can actually win. So there's money in trying to take on somebody that the establishment hates. So it doesn't surprise me that the governor, Brian Kemp of Georgia, has encouraged Nikki Haley to stay in this race because there's money coming into her camp. He doesn't even hide it. He has literally said, as long as the money is there, you might as well stay in the race. Whether or not it's hurting the Republican Party by not being focused on taking out Joe Biden in November.
Right.
So I want everyone at home to think about that for a second. If there is no mathematical path to victory for Nikki Haley, then why is she still in the race? It's a major distraction. I think it's wrong that what's happening right now, and I think Nikki Haley and her campaign should be ashamed of what they're doing.
It's embarrassing.
It's very embarrassing. And quite honestly, the American people have made their decision. They have voiced their opinion. You look at these. Look at Iowa. Look at New Hampshire. Look at South Carolina. Look at Nevada. Look at what's happening tonight across the country. Like, they have made their mind up who they want to run this country, and for her to think that she has a better plan is ridiculous. And it's disingenuous to take somebody's money. I claim tomorrow is National I Want My Money Back because I donated to Nikki Haley.
You didn't, but that's the date. That's what you're calling the day. Yes.
I'm telling you right now, tomorrow should be the national day of I want a refund because I donated to Nikki Haley, and all these people, all the donor class donated to Nikki Haley. She got smoked on Super Tuesday. No real clear path to winning, but yet she took everybody's money. I would be furious.
Oh, absolutely.
If I was somebody
it's clear as day.
that.
That's what she's doing. And also, can we also make it a Nikki Haley drops out of the race day because it's time? This is a clear blowout for President Trump, a grand slam for him on this Super Tuesday.
Well, she won't. She won't.
Won't.
Out, so
I think she likes aggravating us.
But let me tell you something. President Trump is not focused on Nikki Haley.
No.
He is focused on Joe Biden in the general
As
election.
it should be, because Nikki Haley is
Right.
old news.
Right.
She's just trying to stay relevant at this point.
I suggest, honestly, I wouldn't even bring up her name anymore. And I don't think he does. I mean, he really didn't bring up her name last night. It was only until I actually brought up his name that he even commented on Nikki Haley
And he
last
called her
night.
bird brain.
Called her bird brain. But the attention is not on the Republican primary. It's very much on beating Joe Biden.
Absolutely. We're just minutes away from President Trump coming out here to Mar-a-Lago, into this room packed with some of his top supporters in the Palm Beach area and also some surrogates and his family as well. Saw Dalton Jr. Here watching the results come in as we await for President Donald Trump. So far, a clean sweep on this Super Tuesday. He has won every state that has been called. Donald Trump making his way to the 1215 needed in votes to clinch the nomination for the Republican Party. And Brian, I think after looking at tonight and looking at the states that are voting next week, he's very, very, very close to getting that number. Also, Georgia's on deck. They're on the clock for next Tuesday. We'll be in Georgia on Saturday, Rome, Georgia. Let's talk about that area and how big of a Trump area that is. Trump country in Rome, Georgia.
It is the largest supporters of Trump. It's the largest county for Trump supporters in the state. If that tells you something, I'll say this, and I don't mind throwing this out there. If Herschel Walker would have campaigned more in District 14, he might be a senator in Georgia. That state will drag you across the finish line. I think this is going to be a huge rally. I anticipate it being one of the biggest we've ever done. It was one of the biggest we ever done last election when he was there. Massive people came out at the Rome airport. I was not there, but our cameras were. It's one of those situations where you have to basically, you have to look at this district as being just an unbelievable opportunity to get the base out in full force.
I think President Trump is very, very close to walking in right now. They're getting prepared. You're looking at live pictures right now, and I believe we have a group of people who are making their way. He could be in this group, just don't know yet. It's just a little early. I don't think that would be them.
It's hard to see.
Yeah.
It's a little dark, but you're right. I know on camera, James is probably trying to get the best shot.
Ladies and gentlemen, hit that like button for me if y'all just now tuning. Make sure you hit the like button if you just now tuning in. I really appreciate that. Appreciate you guys all being here this historic night. Did she say Dan Bongino?
Stephen Chung, Roger Stone.
Yes, Roger Stone just walking in.
Brian Jack making his way in here.
Caroline Levitt.
So, hey,
all
we're
of the
getting
top
our seats here in
yes.
a second. But once again, hey, we want to remind everybody, follow us on social media. You can do that at Brian Glenn TV on Instagram, on Twitter, Facebook, on Truth Social at Brian, Brian. I'll be putting up some clips from the interview I did with President Trump last night. And I want to do a special thanks to everyone here at Right Side that came together for that effort.
All right. I think I did a poll earlier, and I don't know if I closed that poll off or not. I need to go in here and check it out and see if I did that. So I'm ending the poll right now, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see. It's updating right now. I did an hour ago, and I'm about to end the poll. And there it is right there. I just posted it, guys. So 79% of you guys said Trump will win all 15 states. 4% said no, and then 15% said Nikki Haley may get one. Again, I know I'm going to keep on repeating this, but I really would like it hit that thumbs up button, folks, so this video can be circulated within the YouTube algorithm. Now, you guys probably can't hear the TV, but I can. So whenever they do some more updating here, I'll let you guys all know. But you guys all been seeing everything that's been scrolling in the little ticker at the bottom and all that. So yeah, I have to get up and move around sometimes, which I'm getting ready to do right now. Y'all, this might seem weird to y'all, but I do not like sitting down. Like, I stand up. I like standing. So yeah. Glad you guys are all here. I appreciate you guys all being here, taking time out of your evening to spend it with me as we watch this and cover this. Appreciate all the comments and appreciate those that have already sent something in through Cash App. I will shout you out when I do another video. But I really do appreciate that. And guys, look, if you guys send a Cash App or PayPal, I don't care about the amount. I don't. Some of you guys are sending like $1 and be like, hey, Ty, that's all I can do. I wish I can do. You don't have to do that. I don't care about the amount. It's going right back. Now, it's going right back into what you guys are saying right now. It's going right back into production. Everything you guys do and donate goes towards production, whether I'm getting a new stitching cord, HDMI cord, better sound equipment, whatever. So, am I a millennial? Oh, I don't know what you mean by I'm just Ty. I know what you're trying to do there. No, I was born in 82. Let's see what's going on here.
Brian Jack coming in as well. So we got, everyone's taking their seats.
Everyone's taking their seats. Hey, real quick, while we wait for President Trump, I want to talk to you about a decision desk exit poll that just came out for RSBN. The Republican voters' top issues. Again, this is an exit poll that just came out. The top issues from Republican voters show that 44% is immigration, 28% is the economy. So big numbers there on illegal immigration.
Illegal immigration.
Well, it's one of the polls that was really interesting to me was if you're optimistic about the economy, and if you look at the small business index, and that says
spend the cash up on my wife. She ain't putting in this work. It's me. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Let's see. Yeah. We'll see what happens in the next few minutes here, everybody. Again, if you have not done it yet, make sure you hit that like button, ladies and gentlemen. Hit that thumbs up button so this video can be circulated within the YouTube algorithm. Nothing really going on yet. Marshall Knoll, there you are from Tennessee. Place where I got a ton of family. Got family in Halls, Covington, Hennon, Ripley, Brownsville, Knoxville, Nashville.
in January of 2025. So it's imperative that not only does President Trump win the presidency, but then we keep the House and we take over the majority in the Senate. If we have the House, Senate, and the presidency, and we put the right people in place, I can absolutely tell you right now, we will have a prosperous 4 more years on that. So that's why every seat matters. And you look at what Republicans did to George Santos a few months ago by kicking him out of his seat there in New York, and it was replaced by a Democrat, is the dumbest things that Republicans have done. Why do we attack our own party? Why do we want to kick out people in our own party is beyond me.
Yeah, it blows my mind. I think I can see President Trump walking up right now, Brian, by himself. Secret Service all around him on the side, but he is here. We're going to let you listen in as the crowd. They haven't seen him yet, so when they do, it's going to erupt. Stand by for that.
Let's just listen in. We're going to get probably the voice here in just a few minutes.
Well, thank you very much. They call it Super Tuesday for a reason. This is a big one. And they tell me, the pundits and otherwise, that there's never been one like this. There's never been anything so conclusive. This was an amazing night, an amazing day. It's been an incredible period of time in our country's history. It's been sad in so many ways, but I think it's going to be inspiring because we're going to do something that, frankly, nobody's been able to do for a long time. We've watched our country take a great beating over the last 3 years, and nobody thought a thing like this would be possible. We wouldn't have Russia attacking Ukraine. We wouldn't have Israel being attacked. Iran, as you know, was broke. When I was running things, they were broke. They didn't have money for Hamas. They didn't have money for Hezbollah. We had no inflation. Inflation is destroying the middle class. It's destroying everything. Inflation, if you look back over the history, hundreds of years back, it's called inflation. It's called a country buster. And that's what it's doing to our country. What's happened with inflation has been unbelievable. A lot of people say, a lot of experts have said the stock market's the only thing that's doing well, and that's doing well because our poll numbers are so much higher than Joe Biden's. He's the worst president in the history of our country. There's never been anything like what's happening to our country. Today it was announced that 325,000 people were flown in from parts unknown. Migrants were flown in airplane, not going through borders, not going through that great Texas barrier that I was with the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, the other day, and we were looking at the job they're doing. But in the meantime, they're pouring into California and they're pouring into Arizona because those governors aren't doing anything. They're doing nothing. But today it was just announced before I came out. It was unbelievable. I said, that must be a mistake. They flew 325,000 migrants, flew them in over the borders into our country. So that really tells you where they're coming from. They want open borders, and open borders are going to destroy our country. We need borders and we need free and fair elections, or we don't have a country. This is an incredible group of people. So many celebrities that I'm not going to introduce any because I'm just going to get myself in trouble if I do that, because I'll leave out most of you. But this is a room chock full of incredible, talented people, like some of the guys standing right in front of me, right? Big futures, big, fat, beautiful futures. Oh, I'd love to be your age. I'd pay you a lot of money to be your age. But we have some tremendously talented people in this room, including tremendously talented political people that have helped me right from the beginning. We had the safest border in the history of our country. We built 571 miles of wall. We had Mexico supply us with 28,000 soldiers because we wanted them. That's why. And they said, we won't do that. I said, yes, you will. You will. And in the end, they did. It was an easy negotiation, but we had the safest border, the best numbers we've ever had, and now we have the worst numbers probably in the history of the world. It's sad to see what's happening to our cities. Our cities are being overrun with migrant crime, and that's Biden migrant crime. But it's a new category of crime, and it's violent, where they'll stand in the middle of a street and have fistfights with police officers. And if they did that in their countries from where they came, they'd be killed instantly. They wouldn't do that. So the world is laughing at us. The world is taking advantage of us. 3 years ago, we were at a level, we were energy independent. We were going to be very shortly energy dominant. And today we're getting oil from Venezuela. Can you believe it? And we're doing numbers on that oil. You know what we're doing? We're refining the oil. We have our refinery for that oil. It's really, I call it tar. It's not oil. It's terrible. We have real stuff. But we're refining it in Houston. So for all of the environmentalists, you ought to look at that, because all of that tar is going right up into the atmosphere. You just ought to take a look. It's the only plant that can do it. We have the only plants that can take tar and make it into oil. And that's what it is. It's a shame. But we were energy independent. We were going to be energy dominant. We were going to be supplying oil to Europe, all over the world. And then a tragic thing happened during the election. It was a tragedy, because you wouldn't have, think of it, all of the problems that you have today, I don't think you would have had any of them. You'd only have success. And that's what's ultimately going to unify this country and unify this party. We have a great Republican Party with tremendous talent. And we want to have unity, and we're going to have unity, and it's going to happen very quickly. And I have been saying lately, success will bring unity to our country, and it happened before. We had the best economy our country's ever had, and people were calling me that I would have said will never happen. It'll never happen. They wanted to get together, African American, Asian American, Hispanic American, women, men, people with diplomas from the best schools in the world, and people that didn't graduate from high school. Every single group was doing better than ever before. And it was a beautiful thing. Our country was coming together. Our country was coming together. And now we have a very divided country. We have a country that a political person uses weaponization against his political opponent. Never happened here. It happens in other countries, but they're third world countries. And in some ways, we're a third world country. We're a third world country at our borders, and we're a third world country at our elections. And we have to stop that. We need a fair and free press. The press has not been fair, nor has it been free, but maybe someday they will be. They're being beaten up pretty badly. People aren't trusting them. They're not believing them. And really, it's a very important factor. The press used to be the policeman. It used to police our country. Now nobody has confidence in them, and we have to get that confidence back. It's so important for the success of our country. So important. So this has been a day that we've been waiting for. I want to thank my family for being here. It's a great family. I have a great family. They've had it very easy since I decided to run for politics. They say, thanks a lot, Dad. We appreciate it. But they're strong and they're very capable people, and they love the country. They really do love the country, and we appreciate it. And I want to thank everybody, my staff, Susie, Chris, incredible job. Incredible job you're doing. I read an article yesterday where it said this is one of the finest run campaigns that anybody has ever seen. That's pretty good, right? That's pretty good. It's really a statement. And we have no choice, because November 5th is right around the corner. November 5th is going to go down as the single most important day in the history of our country. We're going to take it and we're going to make it like it should be, respected. Right now, we're not respected. Right now, our country is known as a joke. It's a joke. Other leaders who I speak to, other leaders can't believe what happened to us, because 3 years ago, we were the most respected country anywhere in the world by far. We were doing things that nobody could believe. China was paying us billions and billions of dollars. In 25 years, they paid us nothing, zero, not 10 cents. I was getting billions of dollars, and they were happy about it, as happy as you can be. Of course, maybe there's reasons for things having happened, but they were not so happy with certain things, I guess, based on things that took place. But we were getting along with everybody. We were getting along, and we were respected by everybody. We had no wars. Remember when I had the debate with Hillary Clinton? She said, look at him. Look at that personality. He's going to cause wars. I said, no, my personality is going to keep us out of wars. And that's what happened. For 20 years, they were fighting ISIS. I defeated ISIS in 4 weeks. I got rid of ISIS 100%. 100% of the ISIS caliphate. And we had no wars, and we stopped wars. We weren't getting along with a lot of countries. All of a sudden, North Korea, which is a serious nuclear power, but North Korea came along. Kim Jong-un, we got along very well. We got along very well with China until COVID. That was a little bit too much, as far as I was concerned. That was too much. Couldn't take that one. But we made a trade deal with China that I don't even talk about. $50 billion a year in product they bought from our farmers, our manufacturers. They used to buy 10. I got 50, and it was great. But COVID, I don't even talk about that, because COVID was such a horrible thing. It started in the Wuhan labs, just as I said, the Wuhan labs. And it came out, I believe, through incompetence. I believe it was incompetence. Some people think it wasn't, but I believe it was. But regardless, it caused $60 trillion worth of damage and death all over the world, all over the world. And we did a fantastic job on that. We never got credit for that. Unbelievable job on that. We came up with things that nobody thought was possible. Don't forget, when it came in, nobody had an idea what it was. They didn't even use the word pandemic. Nobody had an idea. But we did a fantastic job. And we got a lot of credit for the economy, a lot of credit for our foreign policy. I think credit like very few people have gotten. And the press was very honest about it. They give us very high marks on foreign policy, the Abraham Accords, so many different things we did. But we never got the kind of due that we should have for the COVID, or as I call it affectionately, the Chinese virus, the China virus, which is a much more accurate term. And despite that, the stock market, when we turned it over, the stock market was higher than it was prior to COVID coming in. It was an amazing thing. We did an amazing job. And we have so many people that worked on that, so many of the doctors, so many of the scientists that worked with us on that. It was really, really something. But there's never been an administration that had more success in so many different elements. We got the largest tax cuts in history. We have the largest regulation cuts in history. We rebuilt our military. And what happened, we rebuilt our entire military, and beautiful. We had jet fighters that were 53 years old, and we had all brand new jet fighters. And then after this other group of people that didn't know what they were doing, they took over, and we had that horrible surrender in Afghanistan. I call it a surrender. We took the soldiers out first. You know, I dealt with the leaders of the Taliban in Afghanistan. They were the ones that were causing the trouble. The press was very angry because they said, "Why are you calling them?" I said, "Because that's where the problem is." I say oftentimes, they asked Jesse James, "Jesse, why do you rob banks?" He said, "Because that's where the money is." And I said, that's where the problem is with the Taliban. And I spoke to Abdul. He's still the leader. Believe it or not, he's really the leader of Afghanistan, but he's the leader of the Taliban, a rough group. I say, don't ever shoot our soldiers again. Don't ever do it. Very interesting. What happened is that, we were having, during the Obama administration, previously, they were shooting a lot of our soldiers. And I let them know, I said, don't ever, ever let that happen. I said, in a rather nasty fashion. We don't have to go into it tonight. For 18 months, we lost nobody in Afghanistan. And then we had that horrible, horrible withdrawal where we lost 13 soldiers, 38 horribly wounded, left Americans behind. You know, you have Americans right now still behind. Call them hostages if you like. It was a terrible moment. We left $85 billion worth of brand new, beautiful equipment behind, jets and tanks and everything you could think of, goggles, night goggles. They didn't used to fight. They're good fighters. They didn't used to fight at night, but now they do because they have goggles. They have better goggles than we have. So I just want to tell you that led to a lot of bad things. And now the worst things are happening. The things that are happening now are unthinkable, and they're unthinkable at the border. We have millions of people invading our country. This is an invasion. This is the worst invasion probably. We've never had anything like it. No country has ever had anything like it. The number today could be 15 million people. And they're coming from rough places and dangerous places. And we had that shut down. We had everything going so beautifully. When Joe Biden goes to the beach, because somebody on his staff thinks he looks very good in a bathing suit, until he can't get his feet out of the sand or lift the chair, which weighs about 9 ounces. Joe Biden, if he would have just left everything alone, he could have gone to the beach. He would have had a tremendous success at the border and elsewhere. So we're going to take back our country. We're going to make sure we are going to do it right. We're going to have the greatest economy ever in the history of our country. We're going to top what we did. We're going to become an energy center of the world. We were ready to become energy dominant, and they stopped that. But we're going to become energy dominant. We're going to pay off debt. We're going to do things that nobody thought was possible. You know, we hadn't done our second phase of the tax cuts. When we did the tax cuts, the Democrats fought us very hard. And now they say, well, I guess that was pretty good because we took in much more revenues after we cut taxes. And then we did all of those regulation cuts, and people were working and everybody was happy and we were all proud of our country. But we're going to win this election because we have no choice. If we lose the election, we're not going to have a country left. And we're going to do something. Thank you very much. We love you too. And we love our country. And we can't let this magnificent, some people call it an experiment. I don't call it an experiment. I just say this is a magnificent place, a magnificent country. And it's so sad to see how far it's come and gone. When you look at the depths of where it's gone, we can't let that happen. We're going to straighten it out. We're going to close our borders. We're going to drill, baby, drill. We're going to get the inflation down. And we are going to make our country greater than ever before. And we're going to do it quickly. We're going to do it quickly. It's going to go fast. We have to get the criminals out. We have many, many criminals that have entered our country. We have people coming in from such bad places, and we're going to have to get them out. We have murderers that are being deposited into our country. We have drug dealers at the biggest and highest levels that are coming into our country. We have people coming into our country that just shouldn't be here, but many, and I say many, large percentages, they come in through the caravans, they come in many different ways. Now we find out again, they come in through airplanes, we'll send them in. This is crazy. But they come into our country, we're going to stop them. We're going to close our borders. We're going to have to deport a lot of people, a lot of bad people, because our countries can't live like this. Our cities are choking to death. Our states are dying. And frankly, our country is dying. And we're going to make America great again, greater than ever before. Thank you very much. It's been a big night. Thank you very much.
He was just reassuring what he is going to accomplish as the 47th president of the United States of America come, like you said, come November. So it's a wonderful Super Tuesday. This is what it's all about, bringing home victories for President Donald J. Trump. You're watching him exit the room here at Mar-a-Lago as the people show their cameras, show their support behind President Donald J. Trump exiting for the night. A huge win. Slam dunk home run for President Trump tonight. So great time, Brian. Great time to celebrate. Great night here at Mar-a-Lago here in West Palm Beach area, the Palm Beach area of Florida.
There you go. All right, we want to thank our sponsors for the night. Of course, we've got tons of sponsors.
All right, seriously, a huge shout out to RSBN for covering this and them not hitting us with copyright strikes or anything like that. And I do appreciate all you guys coming in and taking time out of y'all evening to sit through on this one. I haven't really got any big updates as of right now. I do know that right now it's still pending with Vermont, which it may be one of you guys may be right. Nikki Haley might take Vermont because it hasn't right now. Vermont has 83% reporting in, and they just called it. They literally just called it before my face. So Nikki Haley won Vermont. Y'all want to see it? Let me see if I can share the screen with y'all to where y'all can see it as well. There it is. See it? They literally just called it while I was talking to you guys. So she won Vermont 49%, 49.8%, Donald Trump at 45.9%. So one of you guys got the poll right when y'all said she may get one. Well, she has one so far. So they called Vermont for her. And you know what? What's going to be really crazy and entertaining? What's going to be really crazy and entertaining is that Angel, I appreciate it. Appreciate it, Angel. What's going to be really crazy is that she going to take it like she won the presidency. She's probably going to, matter of fact, I thought she was supposed to do a speech tonight, but then her people, I got a lot of folks, y'all, I'm just telling you, I got a lot of people that are, I know I signed an NDA, making sure that anybody that actually watches my channel or anybody that I'm kind of in cahoots with, whether they're Democrats or Republicans who are senators in Congress, I'm telling you, I know. Anyway, a lot of them said Nikki Haley or not, she's not going to speak tonight, which why would she when she is getting completely annihilated? Said, anyone know what the status of Utah and California is? Okay, let's see if we can find that. Okay, let's see if we can do that. Woo, look at all those ties. Let's see. Okay. I'm gonna make this screen a little smaller for y'all so it doesn't be like crazy blind and white like, but let's see if I can do it that way. Last time I did this, you guys were saying like it wasn't, it wasn't big enough to where y'all can view it. So hopefully you all can see this pretty good. So you asked about who is this? California and Utah. Let's see if I can find it. Here is California. And nothing's done in California yet. Those results aren't expected to come in until later tonight, like 11 Central, it says right there. Well, 10 p.m. Central. And California, and Arkansas, Alaska is going to be done at 11 p.m. Let's see, you said Utah. Utah right now just kind of kicked it off, but 1% reporting they got Trump at 62.6%. So that's what that is right now. 10 p.m. Central is in 20 minutes, says Jungle J. Yep, because it has 9:41 p.m. So yeah, that's when it all closes off. So yep. But guys, the ones that are in here right now, make sure y'all hit that like button, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if y'all want to keep this thing up. I will keep it up and rolling. I don't know what other news channels are covering this right now, but if y'all want to stick around for it, y'all can be my guest. I will leave the news channels up, keeping y'all entertained and all that, and I'll just jump in and out every now and then. If they're steady going to be calling them throughout the evening, then I can do that. I know a lot of y'all like to hang out. A lot of y'all like to hang out and be up during this time and stay in the chat and talk to each other as this stuff is playing. That's completely up to you guys. Maggie Red says, well, Ty, I'm fixing to hit the hay. Thank you, kind sir, from Bama. We are MAGA country. Jungle J says, thank you for the stream. No, appreciate you guys for all chiming in. Yeah, that's what they're showing right now. Y'all all see this right here. Let me see if I can get that screen to show a little bigger. Let's see what we got. Giddy guy. Good boy. Hit the hunter by the people in the Saints. Okay. There we go. How about we do that? Would that work for y'all? Y'all like, sure, dude, if we can hear it.
Biden, then you have to find a way to stop hemorrhaging cash unify the party, and focus on the linchpins for victory. A border that is in crisis, an economy that is working for no one on Main Street, and the fact that once again, Democrats think their opinion of what you should do matters more than the reality impacting your everyday life.
All right, our thanks to Joe Pinion, Mark Halpern. Great to see you both.
Great
to see you. Thank you both.
All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be back. Aaron Perini, John Bachman. Stay tuned. More coverage of Super Tuesday here on N2.
What in the world disappeared? Yeah, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, look again. I really do appreciate y'all all being here. I think I'm gonna close up night. I think I'm gonna close up shop and then look for some other stuff that different people have sent me so I can make some videos and pre-record them and post them for tomorrow. But I do appreciate you guys all being in here, and hit that like button before y'all get out of here. And I really do appreciate you guys watching, sharing the videos, getting into those cell phones, letting people contacting your cell phone know about this channel. I really, really do appreciate you guys. I do doing all that, and I really do thank you for thanking me. I really do appreciate you guys also. We get ready to get out of here though, folks, and whatever new stuff I might end up coming across, you know I'm going to share with y'all. I am Ty Smith, model Renaissance man, hoping and praying that every last one of you have food, shelter, and clothing. And most of all, I pray every last one of you guys are in great health. Let me, wait. Let me do this real quick, because since y'all are taking y'all time out to do this. Angel, thank you. Tina Boy, thank you. Marshall Nall, thank you. Holly, thank you. Ann B, thank you. Teresa H, thank you. Jungle J, always a pleasure. Maggie Red, thank you, even though you hit the sack. Flip 509, Emma London, thank you. Butch, thank you. Got Emma already. Got Ann B, thank you. Jay Jason, Down and Out, thank you. Bidenomics, oh my God, thank you. Eddie Tanner, Holly, Sugar Canes, thank you. Annabella, thank you. Let's go, Brandon. Nice, that's real slick. For the ones that were in here for the last some odd 30 minutes to put your things up here, I really appreciate that. Bush, thank you for that. Thank you for that. Said best channel on YouTube. Appreciate that. And Judy Loves Freedom, thank you. I hope and pray for the last one of you guys have food, shelter, and clothing. Most of all, I pray for the last one of you guys are in great health, mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. God bless you all through Jesus. What's going on, everybody? So, hey, check this out. I appreciate you guys watching. I appreciate you taking time out of your day to view these videos. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and also, right here is where you can catch the next video